rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Jenna?
Mr. Bill Heaton.
I'm here.
Mr. Kevin Farkas. Here. Mr. Bob Tate.
Here.
Mr. Justin Woodrick.
Here.
Mr. Jake Tate.
Here.
Mr. Sean Haggerty.
Here.
Mayor. Here. And Jeff.
Here.
Okay, today's agenda. Do we have any changes?
This is, you know what?
Yeah, I do.
I'm going to add.
Yeah,
Let me
just,
find Jenna's stuff.
yeah, go ahead. I was going to, but you can go ahead.
Oh, there wasn't anything put on here for the executive
Yeah,
session?
I changed it this morning with Kevin. It's changed online.
Okay, so
I just
that-
haven't been home today to print new ones, and these are
Alright.
already printed.
So it doesn't need change, it's already on?
It's already changed,
I
yeah.
could give everyone a review. Are you done?
No. Can I have 1 second?
Yeah, sure.
So all I'm going to add, I'm going to do a general update in old business, the things that we've been working
That's
on. But also under new business, something just came up and it's a sewer issue. So I just kind of want to discuss that briefly.
Okay, that's fine. And then,
That's what you and I was talking about? Okay. Yeah.
that's new for Jake.
So there have been some changes to the agenda which took place earlier today, so we don't have to vote on them. This is just, if you have a paper copy, it's an older version. So executive session, council will enter executive session after the meeting for the purpose of discussing the potential hiring of a public works employee. And under old business listener, discussion pending easement agreement between Borough and Diamond Towers. And under president, under new business, under new business, sewers and sanitation, Bill Hayden, motion to purchase sewer camera. And under new business.
Yeah, that's on here.
That's on here.
Put that under new business. I moved it down.
That should be old, that's old.
Yeah, but we're talking about last month. Yeah, it's new business now. It's an old issue, but it's to be new business now. If you table it tonight, it'll be old.
However you want to do
It's a
it.
parliamentary thing. And then under the president, motion to accept resignation of Councilmember Ryan Soyson, motion to approve rental property licensing ordinance. And under correspondence would be the resignation letter from Councilmember Ryan Soyson. That's good. Looks like.
Okay, and there was one other thing I forgot. I don't know, about the money market fund or whatever. What, we gotta decide how much money we're gonna be putting into, what
That was on the budget.
do they call that? We didn't decide how much that we're putting into a different account up there at the bank
No.
or wherever.
Yeah, we haven't even decided what to do with it. It's in the budget. What we're gonna do with all the money.
Yeah, okay.
Once the budget's approved.
Once the
I
budget's
think.
approved, then we can do that.
That was the other thing. Were we gonna approve the budget tonight?
Yeah, that's under the
Okay,
proposed budget.
okay.
And I'm gonna talk about the garbage stuff, so I don't know if that needs to be moved, but, we can talk, so.
Yeah, that's fine. He's gonna talk about it instead of me. Okay, do we need a motion or anything for that to change? Or not? Okay,
Nothing substantive.
all right. We need a consent for the agenda.
You already did that. You're good.
Okay. Officer reports.
I explained to council, I forgot to print the financial report or email it to Kevin to post online, but I will have it online tonight, for everyone to see, just so everyone is aware. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head to read it, but everyone knows. And then, for the police report, we had 43 incidents and they're all closed and cleared, and I never got a fire report, so I can't give anything for that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
We need an approval for that.
Nope, we won't.
We're good.
Okay. Correspondence?
The only thing I have is I got a resignation letter from Ryan Soyson. It says, members of West Mayfield Council, effective immediately, I hereby resign from my spot on Borough Council. It is not fair to council nor the community to serve when I can no longer dedicate the necessary time and focus to the responsibilities required. Thank you for the opportunity to have served. I wish the council and the borough the best moving forward. Sincerely, Ryan Soyson.
Okay. Zoning
Kevin,
officer.
should we let them present now? Stamp, or do they have to?
How about, are we up to citizens advisory?
No, not yet.
Oh, well, we replace
Do it there.
citizens.
Okay, perfect.
Get a chair, let him sit down, you gotta get chairs.
Thank you.
Under zoning, I think the only thing we had, we sent out a letter to a landlord. We had to send out a registered letter to have a boat removed from the yard. And it got moved.
Come back?
It left and came back and then left again.
Oh, left again?
So I think it's gone for good.
And I was told it left and then came back.
Yeah. Under code enforcement, we had 4 occupancies and 2 building permits. And I got 2 more building permits coming, but haven't done them yet. So that's it for the code enforcement. Emergency management, Eli, you have anything?
Yeah, I just got a key, not sure what it's for, but great.
I told you it's for the office. It's your key for the office.
Okay, I can't get to the office till I
Can't get
get
to the door.
through a door.
Oh, I thought you had keys to the door, not
I
the
have,
office.
I have no keys.
I was told you didn't have them to
We'll
the
rectify
office.
that.
We'll figure it out.
Gotcha.
I was just told office.
No problem. My
Just the
concern is for the backup generator that's in the back. I know at one time there was a gas-powered generator with a bypass switch that can power up the building. Not sure if it's still functional or anything, but I've been looking into what I originally thought would be a diesel generator because we have a large supply of diesel for it. Yeah, no, diesel generators are big, not so good. However, Tri-Fuel has natural gas options, and we do have natural gas back there. So we might be able to pipe it off of natural gas and have an uninterrupted power supply in the event we're out of electricity. So I'll be looking into that. I saw a couple of Champion models that'll be more than capable of it. They're about $1,000.
That would come out of
My emergency management money, yeah.
Eli, if you would, while you're on that subject, make sure that we actually have a power cord that can plug into here. That disappeared years ago.
I have a new one for this
Okay.
generator. I just didn't bring it over here because I didn't want it to disappear.
Fair enough.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Oh, can I say something?
Sure.
Eli, you done? Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay. I had asked Eli to make a public presentation of the updated emergency operations plan, but given that we have so much going on tonight, would you mind giving that presentation either at the work session in December or the regular meeting in the session?
Can do.
Okay, thank you.
What's Secretary Treasurer report?
The only thing I had on there was, I just want to know where Kevin, like what committee you're going to be on.
I think we do all that in January.
January.
Okay, so just keep it how it is on the agenda, just your name for now. Okay, perfect. That was the only question I had.
Okay. Citizens Advisory Committee.
I will defer to our guest tonight from Stump. So, George, would you like to do the presentation, start us off?
Yeah, so I'll get started. So my name is George Doherty. I'm a professor at the University of Pittsburgh. And we have a program with the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development that allows us to come in and actually do a strategic management and planning program for municipalities throughout the Commonwealth. We use it not only as a service to the communities, but also as a training mechanism or a way to get graduate students interested in local government, and also to help them develop skills in hopes that they'll go into careers And so we have 3 graduate researchers tonight that'll present the work. A lot of this is based on years of experience, and this is the exact same product that you would get from other consulting groups. And so with that, we'll let you go ahead and take it away, Graham.
Okay.
Introduce yourselves, and then we'll get started.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Graham. I'm a first-year graduate student at Pitt.
Hi everyone, I'm Lauren. I'm a second year graduate student at Pitt.
Hi everyone, I'm Jackson. I'm a second year graduate student as well.
So, up until now, we have our strategic management planning program. Before I get into all our details, up until now, we've been doing steps 1 and 2, which are financial condition assessment and financial trend analysis. So that's what we will be presenting today. And after today, we'll proceed to steps 3, 4, and 5, which would be management audit and review, multi-year plan adoption, and implementation plan. So before I start describing all the research we've done, I thought I'd define some financial conditions just to help you understand our data much better. So cash solvency refers to the borough's ability to generate enough cash flow over a 60-day period and be able to cover its expenditures. Budgetary solvency refers to the borough's ability to increase revenues to meet expenditures at a 1-year period and avoid deficits. Long-run solvency is similar to budgetary and refers to the borough's ability to, in the long term, pay off its expenditures. Service level solvency refers to the fact if your expenditures are low enough and revenues are high enough, if the borough can provide all the services at a certain quality and level for the community. Next, we have our annual surplus, and this compares revenues and expenditures in a fiscal year and shows if revenues or expenditures exceeded the other. And our structural surplus compares the rate of change of revenues to the rate of changes of expenditures. So before we get into our core analysis, I wanted to explain what we removed from our data. These are one-time expenses that allowed us to get an idea of what baseline revenues and expenditures were. For revenues, we took out the federal shared revenue in 2021 and 2022, and we removed the state recycling grant in 2022. For expenditures, we removed the public works, highways, and street expenditures in 2021 and 2022. So this is our core review. We've organized to analyze the borough's revenues and expenditures. The first 5 rows in yellows show the revenue and expenditures from 2020 to 2024. The next column in green shows the 5-year change of these values, and the blue column is the annual percentage change. For example, under revenue, we can see real estate tax changed by $17,949 and increased by 2.9%. At the bottom of each table, we see a total section. This shows the total of each year's revenue and expenditures, the total change in 5 years, and the total annual percentage change over the 5 years. When looking at revenues totals, we can see that the revenues grew by $46,867 and increased by 2.9% over the 5-year period. Conversely, we can look at the expenditures totals and see that expenditures grew by $103,753 and grew by 5.8%, outpacing revenues. The final table at the bottom shows the deficits the borough ran every year and shows the cumulative deficit as of 2024. So our core review takeaways. Revenues increased by approximately 2.9% annually between 2020 and 2024. Over the 5-year period, the borough's largest sources of revenues were real estate and earned income taxes. Real estate tax revenues remained relatively consistent, increasing by 2.9% over the 5 years, while earned income tax revenues grew by 4.7%, staying quite consistent as well. Total expenditures increased by 5.8% annually over the period. The largest expenditures were public works, culture recreation, and general government. This imbalance in revenues and expenditures resulted in a structural deficit, indicating that expenditures exceeded revenues over the 5-year period. The borough ran a surplus each year ranging in values, resulting in a cumulative deficit of $252,633. So our core revenue review is designed just like our core review, but it shows the revenue side of our data. Local governments must generate sufficient revenues to fund essential services, address unexpected expenses, and adapt to economic pressures. A sustainable revenue base is critical for maintaining fiscal health and service delivery. Over the 2020 to 2024 period, the borough's total revenues increased by approximately 2.9%, rising from $402,128 to $448,995 in 2024. While overall revenue growth is positive, several important trends stand out. Earned income tax exhibited strong steady growth of 4.7%, and real estate tax revenue remained relatively consistent, increasing by 2.9% annually over the period. Liquid fuels fund and turnback revenues declined by approximately 1.7% annually. Several smaller revenue categories, including licenses and permits, fines and forfeits, and unclassified operating revenues also declined, with annual decreases ranging from 5.7% to 22.1%. So first, I'd like to show revenue per capita. All of our tables are designed just like this, and this table represents the net operating revenues per capita adjusted for inflation over the 2020 to 2024 period. This table is created to show the core operating revenues at the top, and then you can see core operating revenues constant dollar sign, which shows the actual values when adjusted for inflation. In evaluating West Mayfield's borough's financial trends, standard indicators from ICMA and GFOA were used. These indicators are commonly applied to identify early warning signs in municipal finances. For consistency, the 2020 census population of 1,195 people was held consistent across all 5 years. So nominal core operating revenues grew by approximately $46,857, from $402,128 to $448,995 in the 5-year period. This showed slight year-to-year fluctuations. However, when adjusted for inflation, per capita revenue shows that it's actually worth $377,750 and decreased by 6.07%. Net operating revenue per capita went from $337 to $316. This highlights the reduction in real purchasing power, and the decreasing net operating revenue per capita represents a warning sign as seen in red. This next slide is a visual representation of the data. The blue line is the $402,128 to $448,995 core operating revenue, and the pink line represents the core operating revenue after adjusting for inflation, showing how it is much lower than the core operating revenue. Next, we have our real estate tax revenue, and this table highlights the tax revenue adjusted for inflation over the 2020 to 2024 period. Although nominal revenue increased by 11.55% over the period, after adjusting for inflation, the real value of this revenue source declined by 6.15%. The revenue shifted from going from $151,415 to $168,909, but when adjusted for inflation, it's actually worth $142,099. Real estate tax per capita was decreased, going from $127 to $119. Decreasing real estate tax revenues represent another warning sign for the borough of West Mayfield in red. And now this graph visually shows the decrease in real estate tax revenue. The pink line is the real estate tax revenue from 2020 to 2024, and the blue line is the same value after being adjusted for inflation, showing a decrease. Now we move on to our real estate tax rate comparison. For the real estate tax rate comparison, we compared your tax revenues to your peers in Bridgewater Borough, Patterson Heights, Big Beaver, East Vale, Beaver Falls, and Pulaski Township. Each municipality sets its own millage rates applied to assessments to determine real estate taxes. A mill is 1/1000 of a dollar, so for every mill assessed, every thousand in assessed value is taxed $1. Municipalities have considerable control over this revenue source. Even though they are subject to assessments established by the county, a municipality has significant discretion in its application of millage rates, both the general rate and any special assessment it deems necessary. It is useful to examine a municipality's real estate tax revenue compared to similar and nearby municipalities to determine where it stands in relation to these neighbors, and what capacity it may adjust property tax rates. Since assessment rates vary across the state, it is necessary to consider this on a per capita basis, where assessments and millage rates are translated into their direct impact on residents. As seen in the table, West Mayfield Borough's millage rate is lower than your peers at 2.75, and per capita residents are paying less compared to your peers. This is great, because with a lower millage rate and per capita, West Mayfield has more room to change. For example, if you had a higher millage rate and higher per capita, it is more difficult to make changes. With lower millage rate and lower per capita, the borough has more wiggle room to cover deficits. Next, we move on to earned income tax, and this is designed just like the previous tables. Earned income tax revenue increased by 18.64% over the 2020 to 2024 period. However, when adjusted for inflation, it actually decreased by 0.19%, going from $135,122 to $160,310. But when adjusted for inflation, it became worth $134,865. Compared to other revenue sources, it is not as large of a decrease. However, it is still a decrease and warrants a warning sign. This graph shows the decrease. The pink line represents the earned income tax, and the blue line represents the same value after being adjusted for inflation. Now we move on to other tax revenues. Other tax revenues are made up of 3 taxes: per capita taxes, real estate tax transfers, and local service tax revenues. Over the past 5 years, the borough's other tax revenues have increased by 52.41% per year in nominal dollars, but actually increased by 28.22% per year when adjusted for inflation. The revenue changed from $11,630 to $17,725. and when adjusted went from $11,630 to $14,912. Once again, these decreasing revenues indicate a warning sign. This graph shows that these revenues have fluctuated over the years. The pink line is other tax revenues, and the blue line is when it's adjusted for inflation. We can see it's going up and down, however, the real value is still decreasing when accounted for inflation. Finally, we have our liquid fuels fund. Over the past 5 years, the borough's liquid fuels and turnback revenues have declined by 7.76% per year in nominal dollars and 21.56% per year when adjusted for inflation. The revenue changed from $54,075 to $50,417. When adjusted for inflation, it's worth $42,415. We expect this value to continue to decrease as people slowly move away from using gasoline and gas-powered vehicles as frequently. This decreasing revenue still warrants a warning sign, though. On this graph, the green line shows the liquid fuels and turnback revenue rate over the 5-year stretch, and the blue line shows the value after being adjusted for inflation. So our core revenue takeaways. West Mayfield's borough's total core revenues increased by 2.9% from 2020 to 2024. However, after adjusting for inflation, revenue declined by 6.1% over the 5-year period. This indicates that although revenues are increasing, the actual purchasing power of the revenue has eroded. The borough's largest revenue sources were the real estate tax and earned income tax. Of these two, both show clear warning signs due to declining real values and structural vulnerabilities. Additionally, declining net operating revenues per capita represent a warning sign. Together, these trends highlight growing fiscal pressures that will need to be addressed to ensure that these boroughs' long-term financial sustainability. Thank you, and I'd like to pass the next part off to my colleague, Lauren.
Hi, so Graham did a great job of looking at the revenue, so now we're going to look at the expenditures. It's a similar format. We broke the expenditures down into specific line items, and you can see that the change over 5 years was about $103,000, and the annual percent change was 5.8%. As we saw previously in Graham's slide, it was a 2.9% change in revenues. So this is showing that expenditures are growing at a higher rate than revenues, which is a large concern and can contribute to a deficit. However, we also wanted to recognize that there was engineering costs poured into a stormwater project in 2023. So what we did, you can see the orange number under 2024. We changed that to be like an average of what the other costs were in that particular line item to show how if operations went normally, this is how much you would have spent in that category, because originally it was about $80,000. So when we factor in that is like an abnormal cost for you all, we actually saw a 1.2 annual percent change, which is good because it is lower than the 2.9% change for the revenue. So expenditures are growing at a slower rate. However, we did still see a deficit in all of the years, so it's still a cause for concern. And then next we're going to look at expenditures per capita. I wanted to break this down for you all because this was a hard concept for me to grasp. So when we're looking at the consumer price index, we can see in 2020 that says $100. So we can look at that $100 as being the cost of flowers per se. Flowers cost $100 in 2020. Now we can look at 2021 and we see how that says $103.90. We can say that same bouquet of flowers would now be $103.90. So this is showing how like the value of the dollar is changing per year for the same good. So when we're looking at 2020, we see that we had $372 per capita. So we looked at that. We looked at the operating expenditures for the whole year and then divided that by the population of the borough. And again, we held that constant as we did in revenues at the 1,195. So we had $372 per person in the borough for expenditures in 2020. And we can see that it kind of goes up and down. So in 2021, it goes up to $380. In 2022, it goes back down to $331. But then it starts to climb back up again in 2023 and 2024 at $386. So now we're back above the 2020 range. This is a warning sign because we're seeing an increasing per capita for expenditures. So it's just something to look at. And this graph kind of shows the visual representation of that fluctuation in expenditures. Per capita, constant dollars is again adjusting for inflation. These next few slides are looking at some of the larger line item expenditures for the borough. So first, we're going to be looking at general government expenditures. So this is dividing that specific line item over the total expenditures for the borough. So in 2020, we saw that there was around $57,000 in general government expenditures in comparison to about 444,000 expenditures overall. And this showed that the general government expenditures were 12.8% of the total operating expenditures. We see this number staying pretty constant until we get to 2023, where it was 20.2%. We again want to acknowledge that the stormwater project and the engineering costs are throwing off some of these numbers in 2023, and it's good that we're seeing the percentage for general government go back down to 14%, which is in the general area of where it had been before 2023. So we can see that that's staying kind of constant, but that does constitute a warning sign because it is going up. And then this graph shows the spike in how much was spent in general government expenditures. We can see there's a large spike in 2023, and then it's beginning to come down in 2024. I do want to point out that when we're looking at these line items, it is mostly to see how much of the budget is going towards different areas in the government. It's not so much as us judging of you spent 12% in general government. However much you all want to allocate towards different line items is up to council, but we want it to be consistent with how much you all are planning to allocate. So if you plan to allocate 5% to general government and you allocated 12%, then that is a cause for concern. So that is why we are looking at these numbers, so we can make sure that that number is staying consistent and that that's the number that you have planned to spend. So next we looked at police expenditures. So, and this is the same concept of how much you spent in police over how much was spent overall. So in 2020, you spent $62,000 for police over the $444,000 total expenses, which was around 14.2% of the budget. And we see that staying pretty consistent. We do have a bit of a hike in 2022 at 15.2%, but overall it stayed pretty consistent as in like the 12 to 15% range of the budget. So we didn't see this as a warning sign. We do have this graph that shows, the changes. 2022 looks like a very large change in this graph, but it's not as big of a change where we would be concerned. Next, we're looking at fire. This is another one that stayed pretty consistent as well. In 2020, spent around $15,000 on fire expenditures over the $444,000 that was spent overall, and that was around 3.6%. And it's staying pretty consistent. It dipped down in 2021, came back up in 2022, and then began to level out in 2023 and 2024. And this is again a visual representation of the fluctuation in percentages, but the change in percentages is relatively low, so we're not concerned. Next, we have public works expenditures. So in 2020, we saw that there was around $249,000 spent in public works over, again, the $444,000 total. This is our largest expenditure within West Mayfield Borough. So we're looking at 56.2% public works expenditures over total expenditures in 2020, and that again is pretty consistent. In 2023, it goes down to 47.7%, and then it also goes back down in 2024 as well. But it's still pretty consistent, so we're not largely concerned about it. And this again shows that dip that we saw in 2022 and how it's going back up in 2023 and 2024 as far as dollars, but this does not convey the percentage. So even though it went down, the public works expenditures went down, the total budget was a little larger, which is why the percentages are different. So our core takeaways is we did see a warning sign in general government. Nothing to be largely concerned about, but just to make sure that we're keeping those percentages consistent across the board. And if there are going to be any increases in the percentage of any line item over the total expenditures, that we're making sure we account for that. Expenditures did increase by 5.8% annually from 2020 to 2024. But again, I do want to remind us that we have to take in account the stormwater project, which was accounted for. So that is throwing off that percentage. When we factored that project in, we did see a 1.2% change, which is below the 2.9% change in revenue. So expenditures are growing more slowly than revenues most of the time, except for that year in 2023. In constant dollars, the per capita operating expenditures did increase by 3.8% over that period. Not super large, but still something to pay attention to. And our largest expenditures were public works, police, and general government. Now I'm going to pass it off to my colleague Jackson.
Thanks so much, Lauren. I'm going to continue along here with the unreserved fund balance. So basically, the unreserved fund balance in any given year, when the borough has spent all the money it's going to spend and takes in all the money that it's going to take in, whatever's left over makes up that fund balance. If you're running surpluses year over year, it's going to increase. If you're running deficits, it's going to decrease. Looking at the numbers here, we did a similar analysis to the core. You have 2020 through 2024. Back in 2020, the borough had about $700,000 of an unreserved fund balance, and that has since decreased to about $540,000 in 2024. Putting that number in a practical sense, if you look at the operating revenues right below that, if for whatever reason the borough couldn't collect taxes for a year, they could cover it with the unreserved fund balance. That's the amount of money that you have there. Now, you can see the trend across the 5-year period there. The unreserved fund balance as a percentage of operating revenues has been declining, and that's why that warning sign below the graph is in red there. That being said, it's still a lot of money. The ICMA and GFOA, which Graham mentioned earlier, those are the International City County Management Association and the Government Finance Officers Association. They have some best practices for maintaining a fund balance. They say for larger municipalities, it's best to have 3 to 4 months of a fund balance to cover any expenditures that are between years. With smaller municipalities like West Mayfield, it's a little bit different. You want to have some months of reserve available, but you also want to make sure that your balance can be functional for you. So if you have both of your public works trucks break down at the same time, for instance, you want to have enough money to cover that expense. So the only other thing I want to make clear here is that having such a large unreserved fund balance is not a justification to spend it down on operating deficits. That's not how it should be spent. Danny, you can go to the next slide there. I'm going to continue with, this is actually a visual representation of the unreserved fund balance in graph form. You can see it just starts to tail off as we continue here, and that's not a trend. That is good. The next slide here, we did some projections. So we did the actual analysis, the core analysis of the previous 5-year period, and then we like to look at what the next 5 could look like. So a couple of important things to mention with these projections. This is very much not an exact science, but this is generally what we think the next 5 years will look like in terms of both revenues are on the screen, but we also do expenditures. And this is if the status quo remains the same. If you make no meaningful adjustments to revenues or expenditures, this is what we think it'll look like through 2029. For that projected percent change, that projected growth rate column, the main idea behind those projections is consistency. And it, of course, may not reflect the eventual reality depending on what is spent or taken in terms of revenues. But to formulate those percentages, we've generally looked at similar municipalities as well as your core analysis to generate what we think are reasonable growth rates. So some of those smaller, more unpredictable categories of revenue or expenditure might be left flat. They might have a 0% projected change because those are hard to guess about. Otherwise, most categories are between 1% and 3%. We don't really want to go outside the bounds of what the core analysis showed was actually happening with these different categories. And then all of the 2025 estimates, that first orange column there, are from the 2025 budget unless I specify otherwise. And so I'm going to go through a couple of these. I'm not going to touch on all of them, but I will hit the major points. So the first one here for revenues is the real estate tax. When I was looking through to come up with a 2025 estimate, I saw a number of different estimates in different documents. And so I think $190,000 is an estimate, right about splits the difference among all of those things. And the 1.5% growth rate was the average growth rate for your real estate tax before the reassessment was done in 2024. And that's why that was left there. The next one is the earned income tax. And we had seen that in previous years' budgets, I want to say 2023, probably about 2023, you were consistently underestimating the amount of revenue that you brought in through the earned income tax by roughly $10,000 to $20,000 a year. So I picked $165,000, which is, I believe, an accurate estimate. And that 3% growth rate should account for things like wage inflation. We're not going to have as crazy of an inflationary environment as we did in 22 and 23, where that earned income tax was rising even higher. You can see it was an average of a 5% increase over the past 5 years. But that's why we have 3% there. I'm going to move all the way down to the liquid fuels in the middle there. That's the only one that we have projected as decreasing over the term, and that's mostly because that comes from the state, and as people are using gasoline less, they might be driving more electric vehicles, things like that. That's going to start to decline in terms of a revenue source. It's never going to fall off a cliff, but I believe that negative 1.7, yeah, it's exactly what you had in the previous 5-year term. We're leaving that constant. And then I'll look at charges for service, down a little bit lower there. That $5,000 estimate for 2025 is in the ballpark of where the core revenue average was. And it's been consistently rising, so we think that 1.5% is fair. It's one of those minor categories that you can really play around with that growth rate or that starting rate, and it's not going to have a terribly large impact on the overall amount of revenues. So all told with the revenues, we think the total projected change, projected percent change, is going to be 1.8, and that's pretty close to what the core reflected actually happened over the past 5 years. And we'll move to expenditures next. So same sort of analysis, we did 2025 through 2029. I will hit on some of the major categories again, starting with general government. We did note that in 2023 and 24 for the core, those engineering costs really bloated the percentage change in that category. That's why it's 8.5%. We think 3.5% is relatively fair. We think as you might undertake more projects there, that could rise a little bit faster than the other categories, but that's where we're at with general government. For police and fire, the 2025 estimates are what are written into your current contracts. That 5% projected growth rate is also part of the contract, so those are pretty solid. I will note that neither of those contracts run through 2029, but for the purpose of consistency and projection, we're assuming that they do. Next, let's look at public works streets, down a little bit lower. So the 2025 estimate is the average of the 2020 through 2024 expenditures. When I looked in the 2025 budget, it didn't include one of the categories. I think it was special revenues or liquid fuel, something to that effect, which would have made up that gap. And that's why that number is maybe higher than you'd see in the budget. And there's been historically low but consistent growth. That's why we have at 1% there. The only other thing to note with culture and recreation, down low there, the 2025 estimate notes that you have some maintenance programmed into your budget, and that was one that pretty consistently every other year, it was from 2012 to 4 to now 16.6. So the reason we dropped that back to 9,800 for the years following is that it's too inconsistent to make a accurate enough projection, but that's why that looks that way. As far as debts go, you have nothing currently. That's great. That could obviously change if you decide to finance something through bonds or take on any sort of a loan or debt otherwise. So all told with expenditures, the projected percentage change is about 2.1. And that's lower than the 5.8 from the previous 5-year period, but again, if you take out that $80,000 engineering expense, those percentage changes come pretty close. We'll move on from there. Yeah, so we have a projection of deficits. Assuming these numbers hold, we are projecting that you'll run deficits for the next 5 years. I will note that these deficits by volume are lower than the deficits you've run in the previous year period, and part of that's reflected by the millage increase from from this year, among other things. But the thing to note is that we project that you'll run deficits the next 5. We can continue on from there. So we also looked at the sewer fund. We did a core analysis of that, just like the overall revenues and expenditures. Really, all that we wanted is to say, you have one major source of revenue, which is the charges for service for the sewer, and then one major source of expenditure, which is the actual collection and treatment. You have a few miscellaneous things. If there's ever repairs or maintenance that need to be done, that's included there, billing and collection fees, and you have a little bit of interest income from the fund itself. But you can see at the bottom there, the really important numbers is that you're running surpluses on this fund. And so really the reason that we do this core is to ensure that it is solvent itself, that it can pay for itself. You can see that it is. One thing to note is that the volume of those surpluses is decreasing. You can see it was $21,000 in 2020, down to just about $3,000 in 2024. So it's something to keep an eye on. And it's also something to note because we had discussed earlier about having extra money for maintenance and emergencies that might come up in the sewer system. So that's something to keep an eye on there. Now, this is the key findings for the overall financial review. We mentioned that the revenues, this is the actual period, the 2023-2024 period, had increased by 2.9%, and the operating expenditures increased by 5.8%, which reflects that structural deficit, where the growth rate of expenditures exceeded the growth rate of revenues. We had some warning signs across the board for revenues. It was in revenues per capita, real estate tax. There was a small one in earned income tax, and then one on the liquid fuels fund, which is not really in your control, but still noting it as a warning sign. And then as far as expenditures go, we had warning signs in expenditures per capita and the general government category. You can go to the next slide there. The final couple of observations here is that we had a decreasing unreserved fund balance, both as a percentage of operating revenues over the past 5 years and in nominal dollars. Both of them went down. So without any changes to revenues or expenditures, as I said, if the status quo remains the same, our projections suggest that you will have operating deficits through the next 5-year period, like you've had the previous 5 years. And then, as I mentioned, the sewer fund did run decreasing surpluses over the 2023-2024 period, just something to keep an eye on. Now, we have a couple of recommendations here based on our analysis all told. I'm going to start with the second portion here. So we do recommend that you continue to develop these financial policies and standards. I know we've been talking with Councilman Farkas about the SOGs that are being developed, things like that. We think that's great. Keep doing that. One of them should be focused on managing that unreserved fund balance. We think that, as we said, it is being spent down, but you do have a lot of cash left. And some options for this, if you want to start a capital program, do dedicated capital programming, that's always an option. There are a number of other things, but it's really going to take just sitting down and discussing what can we do with this money. And then the first one and the most important is that you have to take steps to eliminate those operating deficits. I think, I'm not sure if Graham mentioned earlier, but the standards based from the ICMA and GFOA are that you run no more than 2 operating deficits in a 5-year period. You were 5 for 5. Our projections say you're going to do it again. That's not where we want to be at. One of the best ways that you can control your own revenue is through the real estate millage. We're aware that you raised it, I believe, by $500,000 into this year. And it is our thought that if you raise it again modestly, you can eliminate a lot of those operating deficits that we've projected. I have a quick, Dana, if you wouldn't mind going back to the real estate comparison slide. So I did some rough estimations here, and whenever it comes up. Yeah, thank you. So if you look at the estimated real estate tax revenue column, we're seeing, I believe this was the 2025 budgeted number, was about $211,000 for West Mayfield. And the millage rate was 2.75. If we're taking that number for this purpose of $211,000, we're saying that the value of a mill in West Mayfield in 2025 is about $77,000. And it is our thought that an increase of 0.3 mils would generate about $23,000 a year for the borough. It should eliminate all of those operating costs, or rather operating deficits, that we've projected. And the average cost per capita would be about $19 per year. And the only reason I brought this slide back up is that you can see if you theoretically increase the millage rate from 2.75 to 3.05, you are still well below the average of your neighbors at 3.6. And then if you look at those per capita costs as well, you are currently at 177, and an increase of 19 or 20 bucks in that column would keep you below 200, and again, well below the average of your neighbors. So we dumped a lot of information on you. We are here if you have any questions. Any of us can answer. You can digest it, take whatever time you need.
You guys did a fantastic job. Gives a lot of insight.
I don't have a question. I just want to say, I'm sure as you were going through all this, and you guys did a ton of work, that project that we had to do, the government, we had to do it, and it was at MS4.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
I mean, everyone was supposed to do it. We did it, and that's what threw us there.
Right.
Hopefully we don't have to do it next year or the year after, but we're gonna have to do more of it.
Trust me, you're gonna have to do more of it.
Right, so it's gonna come up as another needle in this haystack that's gonna put another hump in this booklet somewhere.
Right.
Okay.
Can I-
So it's gonna be another,
Those projects usually run in a 5-year increment. You usually have to get something done in a 5-year certificate time. Somewhere in the next 5 years, I would think that that's going to happen again.
Yeah, I just wanted to make just a comment though, because we tried to account for as many of those things. So when Graham presented the things that we took out of the core, we took out one-time revenues and we took out one-time expenditures as best as we could identify them. But I think the overall statement that I'd like to kind of leave here with is that, so over the previous 5 years, there was a deficit 5 years in a row of $273,000. And if nothing has changed, moving forward, we expect that to increase by another $73,000 to $75,000. At which point you've overspent. The expenditures have been higher than revenues to the tune of about $327,000. And for a budget this size, I don't. Basically, all of that money that's in the reserve would disappear very, very quickly. And so anyhow, I think the borough overall, in terms of its financial shape and its ability to continue, is in good shape, largely because of the unreserved funds. But I think some minor changes, painful as they may be at this point in time, as Jackson pointed out, can really put the borough in an excellent financial position in a short period of time.
I was gonna ask, how does our borough compare to other boroughs with I can't see that from here. I missed that.
Was it for property taxes? Sir?
Well, for
It's a real estate tax.
Bridgewater is 4 mil.
I think he just wants to know.
yeah, overall, how we compare to other boroughs that have the same population, and are we doing?
real estate tax.
That's just real estate.
Yeah, I think
What are we
he's
doing?
talking like just
Yeah.
overall.
Overall,
financial.
the whole,
We in good
the whole
shape
budget, the whole.
compared to some of these
I don't know if
others.
they did that.
So, yeah, what I would say is that the only analysis we did that's mostly a comparison is this one that you're looking at. We can go back and look at similarly sized ones, but what we like to do in these presentations is compare you to your immediate neighbors so you can get that sense of your local community, how are you doing? And in this case, we see that, you're towards the bottom of the average on, in this case, real estate.
And I think our main concern too is, like Jackson said, I think we're doing good in like the real estate tax area, and there's some things that we can do to kind of still be competitive in that. But I think the bigger issue is that we don't want you guys to run out of like your unreserved fund balance. So even if like other boroughs are kind of in similar situations, we don't want you guys to like emulate those same type of situations because the unreserved fund balance is going to keep going down because the revenues are less than expenditures. So you're not gonna be able to build that up. It's just gonna continue to dwindle if we have more expenditures than revenues over the next few years. So I think that there are like other boroughs that are in similar shape, but we want you guys to be better than them. And I think that you can be.
I like that. I would also say, and Lauren's right and Jackson's right, but being in a position where you have that much in reserve, if you can cover your annual expenditures, and we'd like to see you make, actually have a surplus of $10,000 a year, right? So you can continue to put money away into a rainy day fund, which is flush right now. But you can leverage that for all the things that you really want to do in the community. That money, you can make plans to go towards code enforcement and beautification. You can move that into your parks and recreation. You can provide the greater services. You can begin to choose times where you actually resurface roads and get onto a regular plan for that. So you can use it for matching grants, right? You have all this other money, so you can choose to spend it in that way, which it really is kind of a lever, and it's an accelerator for the things that you want to achieve as a community. Or you can, wait 10 years and then it's all gone, and then it's truly panic time. And we just think that it's wiser to cover your annual expenses and then really do what you need to do and invest those funds in a way that gets you the community that you really want.
Because overall, it's good that you all do have a good amount of money to cover your deficits. That's a good position to be in, but you can be in a better position by having your revenues be more than your expenditures. So that's not something that we have to continue to rely on.
I'm going to drive my 1 point home quickly about the fund balance. The fact that it is decreasing is not the bad part. It's the fact that it's decreasing because of operating deficits. If you're spending it, like George said, on things in the community like parks or other programming or buying trucks, things like that, and it decreases, great, because you're making long-term investments in your community. But when it's relied on as, a piggy bank to cover operating deficits, that's not good.
I want to say, I really have to thank Sue Wood and the citizens for really interjecting a rigorous budgeting process this year. We've never had this before. I want to thank you for coming, doing all this work. George Dana, George Newsom, you guys. This is really, this is a lot of stuff to digest, but it's good stuff. And I think two things I really hear in this is that, wow, we need to start factoring in inflation, for one. Certainly. And we also have to think about our revenues more than our expenditures, relatively from the past. So taxes is one way to increase our revenues, but some of the things that we've been discussing so far this year is, what about all these other possibilities for raising revenue? Other permits, increasing our permit fees, other options. These will all go into the revenue mix. So this looks grim kind of on the surface. I agree to that. But I think if we're smart, we will really buckle down and think of this budgeting process in a more holistic fashion, so we can start to avoid these year over year running operating deficits. Totally agree, we cannot squander our flush piggy bank right now. We just can't do that, for very long anyways. So, but thank you guys for this analysis. I will put this online. Would you mind if I put this online for the citizens?
Yeah, I'll send you a PDF version. We'll have that to you tonight.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Jenna, I'll make sure I'll send it to both of you.
Thank you.
And just so everybody knows, George Newsom was with us tonight. It's just we can't get the volume we can't quite get it to work.
Well, we saw him.
Yeah. That's exactly right. We'll be back probably in January with the management review. If there are any questions, and I'll make sure that my contact information is available as well. But if anyone has any questions about the financial review, we can either cover those when we come back, or if you'd like to reach out, we'd be glad to answer any questions,
Okay,
bounce
will that be the
ideas and stuff.
14th meeting? The 5th is where I swear everyone in.
Oh, it wouldn't be the 5th, just because that's your
Yeah,
reorganization meeting, right? Yeah.
That's the reorganization, yeah.
Yeah.
We wouldn't do that.
The 14th would be a regular meeting and a workshop on the 7th, or is that gonna be no workshop?
It would be
since
on the
the
14th.
14th,
I thought
okay.
the 5th was a
There we
regular
go.
meeting.
Got it changed.
I thought that was just a regular meeting, just moved it up.
It can't be afterwards, after that one, I think.
Well, it can do, yeah, if you want to, you're just gonna do swearing in.
So we're gonna aim for the 14th?
14th, yeah.
Okay.
January 14th, we'll be back.
Awesome, thank you guys.
Thank
Don't
you.
worry, thank you very much.
And you're bringing the 3?
Oh yeah, they are the workhorses behind us. They are absolutely the workhorses behind us. So, and we hope they'll end up being municipal managers in the future.
We're hiring.
Okay, that's January, okay. So December, we gotta work on the cover of this, I'll finish.
Right?
Yes.
Still on, Kevin, you're done with Citizens Advisory? Okay, citizens.
Is anyone talking?
No, nobody is.
Any citizens?
We're all quiet tonight. Sorry.
All right.
No, you wanna talk? Do you have a question for the council? Who is this? Talk, did you wanna say anything to him before you go? Or you wanna talk, say,
Up to you guys.
well,
He
tell
wants to
him.
address council, I think.
You're,
Then I'll sign.
they will sign.
Thank you, very good.
You okay, anything, or? I don't put my package.
Because they're gonna discuss it.
Hey, Bob,
In an executive session, okay. Tell him and then.
I'm gonna bring up your issue too.
You like to talk?
Thank you very much.
You don't wanna talk? You have questions for council? No? Okay. Nothing? Okay, just Tom Orlowski. Okay, Tom Orlowski.
We didn't even eat that.
Your name and phone number, or whatever. Or do you have a resume?
Yes.
Give it to council.
Yeah.
Okay,
Who else would be?
Nope, you can fall.
to Jay World. Okay,
Yeah, I was told that you might have a possible opening in your road crew, so I was just throwing my name in the hat. I had been road foreman of White Township a few years ago. Had pretty good relationships with Bill, with Jake, Mr. Tate, Mrs. Cogley. I think I could help your borough. I'm a West Mayfield person. That's where I'm from. That's where I tell everybody I'm from. And I'll be there the rest of my life, so. I live in Chippewa, but I'd like to throw my hat in the ring if you guys are willing to talk to me.
I can't do an interview tonight, can I?
We can discuss during executive session.
Okay.
And I know it's a late throwing my hat in there, but
Come on, Tom.
How are you at weed whacking?
our biggest thing over there was, I understand council is my boss, but the citizens talk to you. And I tell them, you have to come to a meeting, voice your concerns, and that's how we move forward. Ryan understands that. That's what we did in White Township. It's the snow plowing, it's the grass cutting, it's the weed whacking, it's patching holes. It's keeping the borough or keeping the township looking as good as you can. We replaced storm sewers, some sewer lines, but White Township, West Mayfield are about the same size, about the same roadway. So I think I can help you guys out, and if you'd like to set something up at a later date, I'd appreciate it.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
No one else? I asked everyone here.
I don't.
I hate doing that, like, publicly. Okay. Okay,
Okay,
moving on.
I guess we're going to old business. Jake,
Okay, this is where I'll just give you a brief recap of what we've had going on, as soon as I can open my phone up. Okay, the truck is finished, we have it back in our possession. It is running good, no issues thus far. The park was winterized recently, so the park is officially closed, as far as rentals go. I'm not gonna go over that. Paving is to begin on the 24th, correct, Bill?
They want to start on the 24th and 25th to get it done,
Okay,
provided weather permits.
yeah. Weather permitting, that's the plan. I did notice there were some street signs that got fixed recently. And all the LEDs up now. The new, most of them, I know all the LEDs up here got put up, and there was, what, a couple down at the park that were,
There's a couple in the park I gotta do yet, a couple up here.
okay.
And it's done it
So still working on LED situation. And then I guess we'll bring up the electrical issue up here under new business, correct?
If they do the paving right now and it doesn't settle right because of winter, is there like anything?
No.
No. Because they might mill it and then it might snow and
Yeah.
then we're driving on milled roads for. Okay.
Yeah.
Normally when they do mill it though, almost immediately they're falling right behind with the paving.
They're saying 2 days to do the whole thing, so.
Okay.
And then mill it and then pave it, I'm sure the next day. Again, weather permitting, but I'm sure they're gonna be watching the
Yeah.
weather to say,
I mean, even right
if it's
now-
close, we're not gonna do it.
Yeah, even right now,
I'm not confident that
They do a whole
they're gonna be able to do it on the 24th, 25th, to be honest.
yeah.
That's all I got.
okay,
Building grounds, equipment, and truck update. Yeah, that's good. Done.
all right.
Fire and
We
police.
have no, fire and police, we have
No.
nothing under old. Sewers, Bill,
Bill, do you want me to go over the cameras?
I don't know if that's
specs?
being moved to next,
What's that?
The camera.
is that being moved to next, the new business?
Yeah, the camera.
that's new business now.
Yeah, it got moved to new business, I don't know why, but it did.
Okay.
And we got a paving update, so, finance and litigation. Justin.
I'm gonna do the garbage side of the thing. So been trying to figure out putting a bid together. Basically took the bids from what we did 3 years ago. Talked to the other companies, see what they offered. I basically put a bid together that lets anyone basically put a bid on it for either an unlimited model or a cart, like a 2-can limit or a 1-can limit technically, and then you can add additional, basically what their price is and everything. Just need you guys to just kind of okay that.
You can do an unlimited, you say?
It's either or. So if the company only does unlimited, they can put in the bid for unlimited. If the company only does cart, and then they put in the bid for cart, we'll look at it the next council meeting. And so as long as no one says anything that, hey, this is a red flag or anything on it, I'll have Jenna put it out for bid. And then I'll let the companies know that it's out there.
Are we obligated to let
Aiken know that we're doing this?
I mean, they have to.
Contract.
The contract isn't renewed.
He's right, it's not renewed, there's not a renewal clause in it.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure because there was for 3 years. I didn't know if the end,
Yeah.
if we didn't tell them ahead of time.
Yeah, that's a good question, but there's not one in there.
Val, can you drop one of
What's
these
his
off,
name?
because they're not calling him Joe?
It used to be Joe.
McWilliams or something.
Down at, yeah, you know what, I think Joe did.
Yeah, they're like, we gave you the message, and if he didn't call you back, that's on him.
I mean,
So, okay. But either way, it
I'd like
doesn't.
for them to bid on it.
Well, they can, so I'll call up and let them know.
I was gonna say, you can direct a
Yeah.
copy to Aiken and say, here's, we're letting this out for bid, we're giving you the courtesy, directing.
Yeah, and I'll do that to all three companies, Waste Management, Aiken, and Valley, and then whatever they put in there.
Put in there.
Should you also put in a stipulation, options to, are we doing any other options?
Just, I would read through everything.
Okay,
and then
I'll get
if-
back with you
yeah.
on this one, I'll read
Just-
through it.
I'd say within the next day,
Yes.
I'd say by Thursday,
Okay.
or wait, today's Wednesday, huh? By Friday, if it, just let me know, okay?
Yep.
If we go with the unlimited, every house in this borough owes them money every month. Whether
Unless you
somebody's
change
living in
that.
it, whether somebody is in the hospital or in a home,
That's what they can wait out.
that's what they can.
Well,
And I said,
we'll
look,
see what they do.
we need to have something, oh, no, Mr. Aiken says that you could say you're not there and take your garbage somewhere else when you actually are there, so he's gonna lose money. Well, why is it any different if he loses money or we lose money because we're working on a house and they won't take trash? you
I
know
thought
what I mean?
I thought that was very problematic.
was.
Because if somebody, it's one thing to say, well, somebody's not there, they're away for a while, they're in a hospital, they're in a nursing home. I understand that's part of life, but it's still technically being occupied, okay? If you have a house, like I think your brother had one, where there's nobody living there, you're doing work, if you could verify that there's no occupant there, and you shouldn't be, and to say they might be taking their garbage elsewhere is pure speculation.
That's what
How
I'm
can you
saying.
build people on speculation?
Well, that's what
But
you
he
and I
says
said.
no way.
Yes, yeah.
He says no way. If we're
So we'll make
unlimited,
sure to put
every
that in
house
this new
owes
contract.
every month.
But at this
The only
point-
way to get away with that is to do a 2-can or a 1-can system. And then she said, she said, as long as you have a written notice from the borough saying nobody's living there at the
So
time.
this is all part of what they're going to bid.
Yeah, that's what I
right?
said,
Right.
they need to bid on that.
And Bob, I understand what you're saying, if there's no limit on the number of cans, they want that provision in there. But looking at the contract, and I looked at this like Bill said, it's, 2 years ago,
Yeah.
we went to meet with them. I don't see how they get that interpretation from that agreement. I really don't see how they came to that conclusion. And I think whoever it is, whether it's Aiken or somebody else, we can put language in there with more specificity
Yes.
that would eliminate that kind of
They
BS.
won't, I don't think they'll go for it.
Yeah,
I
they
tried
don't
to,
go
I
for
had
it.
that
And that potentially can come after the bid,
Sure.
right? So
Terms and conditions,
so
we'll
that's-
negotiate.
Send them out, see what happens.
send them out, let them bid.
And then you go to the next lowest bidder after that.
Can you give one to him?
Yeah, all it is a bid, yeah, sure.
Yeah, do you have a spare one for me?
Anything else?
Thanks, Jake.
Yes, you're welcome, Mayor.
Justin, anything else?
Yeah, that's all for, so.
Okay, ordinance, under old,
It's the
that would
landlord
be the
thing.
landlord. That should, I think you got that under
That
new
should be on
probably.
hold.
New business, it's a new business item. Not a new topic, a new topic, a new business item.
So we're waiting on that
Yeah.
then. Parks and Rec, nothing? Oh, Jennifer.
Do you have anything for Parks and Rec?
No.
Other than the parks are closed?
Parks are closed.
Parks are closed. Here's news for you.
Nothing under old.
Did you gather up all the benches and stuff? And chain them down?
No.
Remember last year, we lost a couple
So
through the
I'm
winter?
just, what's that?
Has we covered the contract?
Oh, we'll do that. Yeah, we're gonna need help. We lost a
Yeah,
couple
so
of
just wait on
them,
the-
a couple years back there, a year
We've been
back.
shorthanded lately.
Okay.
How
So
come?
nothing from me. Joe, you have nothing under old?
Diamond Communications,
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
Diamond.
even the tower. Can I, pardon me?
I thought I have it right here too.
Yeah, oh, I've got it. We agreed, letter of intent there. And they sent me the proposed agreement. It's very detailed. I think you guys were all thinking they want to buy the property from you with the tower on it, right? I mean, is that? I thought they just bought the
Just the
tower.
tower.
No, they don't.
Yes and no. What they want to buy is an easement, what they call a perpetual grant of an easement. In other words, this gets into the real fine tuning, not fine tuning, the fine detail of real estate law. Everybody usually thinks, I own my property or you don't own the property. Well, you can give up bits and pieces of it, different interests. Most of us have had a mortgage on a property. That's given up an interest in the property. They want us to continue to actually have what's considered ownership, but grant them this easement for $425,000, okay? Why do they want it like that? Because they can get out of this if they want to, okay? A couple of things you should know about this. One thing, they said they will pay $425,000, and that's to include any state or local sales or use tax. Let me just touch on this for a minute. When you give a deed of easement, that's the same as a deed as if you're just selling your property outright. There's transfer tax. Do you folks know what transfer tax is? Let me just take 2 minutes and say we don't. I know Bob does because you bought a lot of property in your time. There's a state transfer tax of 1% and a local transfer tax of 1%. 1% of what? Usually your purchase price. That would be $425,000. So that means total, what, $8,500 on a $425,000 transaction would be paid, one half to the state, one half to us, okay? Now, I don't think we're exempt because we're part of this, because we're only half of this, okay? If this may be exempt, and I'll just touch on this. A deed of easement, I just said, is subject to the tax unless it's to a public utility. And I've got a phone call in to the Department of Revenue, but I just made it today, to be honest with you, okay? You can do this, you can leave them a message in their legal department, and they'll get back to you. Are they going to consider this as a public utility? If they do, then we don't have to worry about the transfer tax. If they don't, my suggestion would be, we're still negotiating this. And for you folks that have bought properties, you may know that oftentimes transfer taxes are split between the two parties. In fact, if you have...
It always is, isn't it?
Well, it doesn't have to be, but it's to the point that's been the practice and usage so long that if you have a contract to buy property, you don't say in there who's paying what tax. The law says now you split the darn thing, okay?
Right.
So we got that. The other thing is, we would have to continue to pay, or I shouldn't say continue, because Kathy will tell you that we haven't been paying any tax there.
Right, the only tax that's paid on that is they have a land amount and a structure amount or a building amount, and they pay the tax on the building, which is the tower.
And
they're paying zero on land.
so that would continue. But it's not real clear in there. I have to clarify that. But the other thing, a couple other things, we have to make sure that they have now that's right over here, isn't it?
Yeah, it's right there.
We have to make sure if they have to go over our property that we don't deny them any access. And they also are wanting us to represent and guarantee that there are no back title problems with that. Well, then there has to be a title search done. I'll find out if they want to do that or if they want me to do that. The taxes I mentioned. And we're also representing there's no environmental hazards there. That's our property, but it was never, you guys have never used for anything but that tower that was put there.
It was just
vacant
storage
land.
area, right?
It was vacant land.
Parking lot.
It wasn't like there was any kind of, you guys didn't have like a facility.
There wouldn't be any liens on it if that's what you're asking.
Not so much things, but like stored gasoline there or something like that.
No.
Nothing like that, okay.
Near there, but not on there.
Okay. You're there wouldn't bother me, okay?
Okay.
But on there.
I have to put it out there.
Yeah, that's 15 feet away or whatever.
But like,
Kathy was talking to my secretary today, she was wondering, why don't they just wanna buy it? And the reason that they don't wanna just buy it is they can get out of this then. Under the termination, if either party defaults under this agreement, it can be terminated. And if the defaults are because of us, we gotta pay them the money back. But I can't really see any way we would default under this, because we're not gonna interfere with anything. But it does say that they can terminate this upon 60 days advance notice. So what does that mean? That's why they don't really wanna
Bless you.
buy, they don't really wanna own it, how you may own your house or other property. Because even though they're paying you a large sum of money, down the road, who knows, it might be 10 years, it might be 20 years, they may not want it anymore.
Maybe obsolete.
That's right, it could be, and that's very possible, okay?
That's
I don't know.
that's why I said
So,
lumber sell.
but you got your money now,
Right.
okay? But let me clarify a few things. I just want to make sure you guys understand that, because it's not that have no further interest in that property whatsoever for the rest, time eternity. No, we still own it, subject to their easement.
So let me ask you this question. If they decide 40 years from now they no longer want that,
Yeah.
they pull the power on it, can you put something in there that states that they have to remove the erected tower? Just to kind of like, because we don't want to get stuck with that if something like that does happen.
That's a good
That's
point.
the only thing that
Just
I
give it
see
to a
is like,
scrapper.
why would they
Come get
do
it.
this?
Yeah,
I don't-
let me put that in there, okay?
Yeah, I don't see the purpose unless they're trying to get rid of that
They
tower.
don't want the
with-
tower.
Out.
They do not want to come in and
Yeah,
take that
without
out.
getting rid of
That's
it.
what they don't.
So
want
is,
to do.
is this kind of like, I know there was talks about putting another tower somewhere, right, give or take?
Well, they're talking, they,
Somebody wants to, yeah.
yeah,
But is that the same thing? So it's like if we put this in here and he has 60 days to say, hey, we don't want to do this, is that their get out of that to put somewhere else? I
I'm
don't
not sure
know.
if all your question.
I'm trying to figure out what the purpose of them offering us this money.
Well, the purpose is they want to have complete control over their operation. They don't want to be continue to pay us on a lease, like a
They don't
landlord
want to pay us
tenant.
$18,000 a year.
Yeah. In the long
For the
run,
rest of
they
the-
think it's worth their time
Okay.
to do this. They can also sublet it out. So they may
Okay.
be thinking down the road, if it's not continuing to be profitable for us, we may sublet it to XYZ company.
But you don't see a scapegoat of anything of where they can just like leave everything that's on there or
Well,
move it.
actually, they can.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, they're not obligated, but Jake, you just said that, or I'm gonna have to look into that a little bit. In the event they do terminate the agreement, what are we stuck with there? Maybe we can have a clause in there that they have to remove it,
Yes.
okay?
But what about structural changes, like massive, like structural changes? The reason I bring this up, some people are saying that the new 6G that they're getting ready to come out with may be like harmful to people around
That
it.
was gonna be my question.
And that also worries me. If they decide to do that and we have no say-so in it, that's kind of like, I'm just looking out on behalf of the surrounding people around us, the community. So that may be something that we want to.
But they can't just erect something without getting.
Well, no, they might not have to.
But
They
they
might
have
be able
to
to put up a
add
new
to it.
6G
Just adds
whatever.
up on
But
it.
they could take that down and put something else
Yeah,
up. maybe.
They could
I think
do
it's
that
in there,
right
they
now.
can terminate this if they can't do what they want because they can't get necessary federal or state permits.
Right.
That's one of the other reasons there, okay? So I think that's addressing what Jake's talking about, at least to a degree.
But that's
Because-
only within 60 days?
No, that's just,
They give you
let me
60
read
days
it again, to you, just so you guys are clear on this.
Like, what are the cases that we would have to pay back 425,000?
Only if the agreement was terminated because we defaulted on something we were obligated to do and failed to correct that default.
There's nothing we're obligated to do once we sell
Yeah.
it. It just sits there.
So if they decide they don't want it anymore, then
So it has,
We'll pay it
just
back.
under termination, easement may be terminated without penalty or further liability upon written notice that either party's in default, they haven't cured the default, that's what I just stated. Upon 30 days notice by the grantee, that's them, that the grantee is unable to obtain or maintain to no fault of theirs any license, permit, or other governmental approvals necessary for the construction and operation of the tower facilities or their business. And the very last one, just pure and simple, terminate by the grantee, by them, for any other reason upon 60 days advance notice, a written notice.
So if they can't get a permit to do what they want, we owe them?
No, that part doesn't say we owe them money.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. That's only, there's 3, A, B, and C, only under A. We have to
Okay,
pay the money
well,
back.
that's
Okay.
what I'm trying to follow.
But I can also get that clarified. You can put more language in, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So,
Joe, I'm sorry, I realized I didn't forward you the email that I sent everybody. I just did an overview of this. And it's-
About the agreement?
It's a summary, yeah, and it just hits all those salient points there. So if you have, check your emails, because this is a nice summary here. One thing I wanted to ask you about is, it does say here that if we don't provide access to them, we pay $500 a day, in a little penalty. But this thing here about terminating, let's see here, that we, exclusivity. The grantor, we, also agrees to an exclusivity clause, agreeing not to lease or grant any interest in any of grantor's property within a radius of 10 miles from the premises of construction of a competing tower or communications facility. Does that mean that we can't put a competitor on any of our public land?
That's what it
Because
sounds
that's
like.
what it means, yeah.
Okay.
We don't need another tower here anyway.
I don't know if you really physically have the room for it, so to speak, because you don't have that much.
Somebody was asking you about this property right here.
Yeah, somebody wanted to put it one over here, and we don't run another one,
That's
so
private land.
this
It
is,
is, but it's, yeah, it's not ours, but it's private.
they were asking.
So that's basically gonna put a big wall up saying, hey, you're not doing that
Right.
anymore. So that's a good
Once
thing.
once we do make
Oh,
this deal.
Well, and of course,
Our
that's,
land.
Not public.
of course, kept,
You can't
yeah,
stop a public, if they wanted to do it.
Yeah, that's-
Federal Communications Commission will not allow any impediments by municipality to a cell tower.
this agreement's just between us and them. This saying we won't give
Okay,
it to competitors. If there's a private owner
okay.
that if they have the property that's suitable for it, they can do what the heck they want to do.
Yeah, but doesn't the borough grant them the permission to
Yeah, we
do
would have
so?
to give them a permit to put it up.
And then that's
So
a
that would mean I
violation.
can't give them a permit.
No,
You
just
have to have a
follow your
reason.
zone.
What,
Follow your
Kevin,
zone.
what section is that? I forget.
I'm sorry, Joe, I don't understand. It would be
That's
under.
how they get out of the laws.
It would be under,
You know,
access utilities and interference. This is an AI somewhere that moves an exclusivity clause.
I don't remember seeing that.
The way you read it to me sounds like they're trying to get the borough to stop anybody else from doing that.
On borough property.
Yeah, just borough
On-
property.
on-
What
on-
can we
on-
borough
tourist
property? Okay.
Within a radius of 10 miles.
So is there,
Like, if you wanna put one on your property, they, that.
Yeah.
so is there any other concerns that we should kind of negotiate with this?
Well, there's some of these details, yeah, about the
Yeah.
taxes and whatnot. I found what Kevin's talking about, grantees exclusivity. Grantor, that's us, agrees not to lease or grant an interest to any of grantor's property within a 10-mile radius. So it's not just a permit, it's, if we had property, we can't give any type of interest to a competitor of theirs
Okay.
engaging in similar business. But like I just said a second ago, or somebody said, you know, if Joe Blow up here has property, he wants to enter into agreement with them, we can't interfere with that. Okay, okay,
Can we tear this tower down and put something else up?
yeah.
And if we have any control over what that is, like Jake was talking, it might even admit something that's harmful.
Well,
Well, not if they don't own the property, right? They
No,
can't just say, hey, we're gonna put this in here.
they can put, they can put what they want to put that's used in their business. Yes, they can, okay.
In there, yeah,
In
and
their-
not some,
They can't put
A new structure. Yeah,
they can put a new structure
as long as
that's
it has,
used for the same purpose.
same purpose, yeah.
Okay, in other words, it's telecommunications. They can't put
Empire State Building.
or some sort of burning trash or something like that.
right.
Okay, with toxic fumes coming up in the air. No, they can't do that.
All right, so you'll look into.
Yeah, I'll get these details. I wanna make
I
sure
don't
you
want
guys
it
are
to be
ready.
a deal breaker if they say, no, we're not, if we decide to leave, we're not.
I don't think anything's gonna be a deal breaker here, because I've talked to this Lisa in New
Okay.
Jersey a couple times, and I could tell, like, first, when she first said about an easement, I said, I can remember calling her, I said, Lisa, I thought you guys wanted to buy total ownership. Well, this is the way we always do it. That was her, you know, and I said, okay, but it's not really total ownership. It's having, an interest in the property that we can't interfere with. It's no different than, you know, right of way is a type of easement. You give your next door neighbor the right to drive over your property to get to his house or something like that. You can't interfere with that, okay? But he's limited. All he can do is drive over your property. He can't put a garage on your property in that area or anything else, okay? This would be the same thing. They can't put a different business function there. They can only do what they are.
They can update or do whatever.
All right, well,
Okay.
I'll continue working.
Joe, in terms of process, so we will, if we go through with this, we will get the money on the first day of the calendar month following the commencement date, okay?
Right.
Is there any reason to have this done in December versus January? I mean, obviously we want the money quickly, but legally, I mean, do you think we'd be in position
make
to
interest on it?
sign off on this at next month?
Well, yeah, I would try, because I'm gonna contact her, you know, within the next few workdays, obviously. But, I don't know if it'd make much difference, Kevin. I mean, other than, it's not like, personally, it's not like it's income that you gotta pay tax on. You might not want it this year, because you might want to delay it for next year. And you're not gonna, rely on this for your budget, I assume, because it's not certain yet. Okay.
Do we want it, does it do us any good? Is
To
it
wait?
better to do it this year or better to wait?
Well, I was asking questions.
Well, legally, I don't think it makes much difference.
Okay. I was just thinking also of just, you know, the meeting
Yeah,
momentarily, could we put this on the budget, I mean, on the agenda for the business meeting in December? You think that's reasonable?
Yeah.
To put it up, a motion to.
Your work session?
Okay,
Yeah.
let's do that.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah, I noticed that too, Kevin, how they put it will be in the first day of the month following commencement, okay? We don't have commencement finalized when that date is, but, so it's like saying, if everything was signed today, it would be December 1st. So, you know, okay.
Get her done, Joe.
Yes, sir.
All right. Mayor, nothing under old? All right, before we start the new, did we get a vote count yet? See who's on council next year?
I'll have to
Anybody?
come from county because it was all written.
Nobody's heard anything yet?
No, but as soon as they do, I mean, I gotta get re-sworn in. And then that'll be in December. And then I'll get that notarized, then I have to turn that into you. And then whoever's voted in has to go get something that they live in the borough, and they have to get that notarized and turn it into you. So I can swear them on.
Affidavit of
Yeah.
residency, yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
And I have my instructions here
Okay.
on these
let's
2
go to new
pages.
business.
Okay.
We have a
Jake.
new sewer issue. Yesterday, Bob got a hold of me, Bob Cod. There's a storm sewer that has kind of a bit of a sinkhole. Brian went down there today. I think we're gonna have to repair the pipe, but there's no way of knowing until we see inside of it. So we have 2 options right now. Well, technically 3 options. We can wait for our new camera to get here. We could call somebody with a camera, or we could just go down there blindly and just rip it apart and put it back together. So.
Well, if we vote and we're gonna get a camera, you might as well get the camera, do it ourselves instead of paying somebody else.
It's right next to Sep's mother's house, right?
Yeah, corner of
that alley
43rd and Craig
Craig.
Street.
Yeah.
Say that again? 43rd Street and Craig Street.
3784 is the
Yeah,
address of the
Craig Alley.
Is
property.
that gonna be something, we'll still have time to do that this year, hopefully. Depending on the weather.
Well,
I mean, I've seen the weather turn to crap in November and And really, we had a really bad year that one year, and everything was ice for months.
Yeah, the road is travelable right now, correct? No worries about losing any people or?
I actually went and filled the hole in with coal patch.
Okay,
Is that the sinkhole that I got a message about?
probably. Yesterday?
I just got it today from myself.
I'll just have to keep an eye and make sure it don't keep sinking.
Yeah, so that's just a future project that we're planning on taking care of as soon as possible. The only other thing, let me make sure, I'm pretty sure, come on. Got too many things going on in my brain right now. Okay.
While you're looking for that.
Oh, I got it. No, go ahead, we're good.
One other thing, can we give Brian a letter that he can drop off? Like we have issue, the people with the boat, they like to park their cars out in the middle of the alley. You are gonna have a hard time getting past them when it snows. You know what where I'm talking about? Seps Alley right there. I don't even wanna talk to these people because they're telling me I'm racist and stuff like that. So I'm not gonna say nothing about the cars. But their cars are in the alley. You're gonna have a hard time getting a plow past. Can we give him a letter that he can, whenever you're out and about all the time, if you see cars that are blocking the alleys, streets.
If they're in the roadway, correct me if I'm wrong, he can contact the police, correct, and have them try to rectify it?
Yeah, we'll discuss it and see what it is.
One little thing that you mentioned, that being in pretty much that same alley, that where they put the newer sewer in.
Yeah.
Up the other end. I mentioned to Jake about that guy having that trailer parked right out in front of his house.
Who's that?
That,
Kids?
no, it's a box trailer.
Which house?
Is it the Roto-Rooter for us or something?
Where we put that new sewer drain up that alley.
Yeah. You got the old.
It's the little trailer, it's an open trailer, right?
That's an enclosed trailer. It's like a 12-footer, 16-footer.
What's the problem with it?
Well, he's got it parked in front of his house, and the garbage truck has to go over to get around it, and he's busting that new sewer line up.
Oh, what is that?
Was AJ at True Farm? He actually went up there and cut that off. Because
the clean out.
The clean out to get it below the street more. And I filled it in, and it's sinking some more.
All right, so we can give.
But it's, the garbage truck has to come over to get away from that trailer. And it's
Well, it
ruining
depends
pipe.
based off of our ordinance. What does our ordinance state? How far off of the road can you park legally?
You're only allowed 10% on a road. I think it's a road. But in the alleys, you can't be, the alleys are one way, a lot of them. I mean, not one lane. So you really can't be parking on.
That's gonna be something you're gonna have to add to the next meeting.
Well,
It says, on ordinance 480.02, line 2, in an alley in such a manner as to obstruct the free passage of other vehicles. They can't be there.
If it's one lane, then if it's only wide enough for one lane, pretty much parking anything there is going to hinder the free flow
Yeah,
vehicle.
you can actually see where the garbage truck's actually going over on the other person's property to get around it.
So according to this, he has to move it.
So, Chief, you can
may
send
have to
somebody.
have that, Joe, you can tell me if you think this isn't accurate, but you may have to have that posted, no parking, to make that.
Yeah, that's
You
a
can't
good,
just enforce it based on you have an ordinance for it. You have to have signage that restricts it.
you know what, off the top of my head, I'm not sure of that, but I think he's probably right. I'm pretty sure
What's it
you're.
gonna take to
And
get
it wouldn't
signs?
hurt anything.
Now we gotta change
It
it.
tells them, it makes it clear, there's no way that they can say they didn't make it because it's posted on the ordinance.
Because his house is almost on the alley. The front.
Oh, he's talking about that one, that little wee house.
Yeah, a little square house there. And the house is almost on the alley, and he puts that trailer in front of it, and it pushes
First
out of
things
the alley
first,
over.
stop down there, see if you can talk to him.
Yeah.
See if you can get him to move it. If he doesn't move it, then we'll get signs.
Okay.
And that same thing goes for those
Every
other
alley,
cars.
yeah.
that are parked in that alleyway. And then as the problems progress up the hill,
Well, you're gonna have to probably put no parking on every alley then.
well, no, not yet, just in the problem areas. Only address them as they come.
Yeah.
I mean, we have street side parking, you know, we do. But
I know what
you
you're saying.
cannot obstruct the flow of traffic.
I think what Justin's saying, that would apply to every alley.
Right.
But whether or not you put such a sign up depends if you're having a problem and you need to enforce it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And part of some of the
Eventually
issues
you
you're
might.
gonna have with the alleys is that where does the alley terminate and their property begin? If somebody's able to navigate around it, then it's not obstructed by sense unless they're actually clearly trespassing when they're driving on somebody else's property. This isn't like you have curbs, you know, your roadways run into the properties. And that becomes problematic as far as, okay, you know, do we enforce that properly? And we're certainly not gonna be putting the borough or ourselves in positions to where.
See that sewer pipe that we dug back up.
But we also reserve the right to have the 3-foot right of way in front of every, or off of every road, right? That's an ordinance that we have.
I don't know if it pertains to alley or not.
We don't have any.
It's a roadway though.
Oh, they're all roads.
Isn't that what we've said before? I think that's what I heard. We
They're all
don't
on
have
that phone
alleys.
alleys, I don't know.
Okay,
But
well,
let's
let's
say
get
this is
to
gonna happen
Just talk.
across the alley
See
from
if
me.
they'll
Yeah.
get-
I'm not
they'll
gonna go
move on.
talk to the one guy.
They park
I'll
outside
do-
your garage
you-
all the time.
You
How do you
use
get
the
to my
papers.
house?
You can drop them
What's
at the
my house?
houses,
And
wherever
these would
there's,
be the
wherever
reasons.
I
there's
mean, I
issues.
park as close to my.
Okay.
But you gotta be able to get the plow.
I park on the alley and buy mine.
Okay,
That's all we got.
all right,
I'm off the road.
fire and police,
Nope.
we have a report from
No, they didn't. They didn't
Okay.
send it.
Sewers bill, nothing?
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, the camera, yeah.
Excuse me. What's that?
What's your motion?
I have a motion, I have a presentation. Last month we talked about buying a sewer camera because we want to try to get ahead of this game with the aqua thing, because you know they're going to bill us by flow.
Which one do you suggest?
I was asked last month to go back and get bids, because it was over 23 or 24 grand. I have bids, they're all over the place. But since then, I also went back to the one company and I found that they have a, did I give you that picture?
Yeah, I have it.
Okay. They have another one that's basically the same thing. The only difference is it doesn't have the zoom on the camera. You can take a picture and zoom in on the picture, but you can't just zoom in, which I don't really think we need. But it's $22,900,
$22,995.
so it's under the threshold.
Okay.
So it's $5,000 cheaper than what they wanted for the other one that had the zoom on it. But the other one was 29 something.
Do you wanna make a motion to
So,
buy it?
Hold on. Go ahead.
I'm looking at these, and I don't think we need those bigger, because the other bids, the same company was 29 something. The other bids are in the 50s.
Yeah, well, they're out.
Yeah.
So,
I think this camera would be an excellent camera to do what we need. However, in order to make this thing function, we need a generator. Now, I heard Eli saying something like getting another generator conversion. Does our generator work back here?
Yeah.
So then you have a generator. But the only other thing we would need to buy, separate from that, would be a locator. And they're about $1,800.
so that would be separate, just so everyone's aware.
Separate
This
purchase.
is the camera. If the camera gets lost in the sewer, you're gonna need a locator to find it.
Well, to map them.
Well, even if you find the plug in the sewer, you need the locator to find out.
Yes.
We're
They're both
both on
right.
this camera, every time we camera a line, we're mapping that as well, right?
Yes.
Yes, you can print out on the drawing and everything.
Because if we're not doing that, it's kind of, not saying a waste, but.
No. So internally, this camera has software. The software will document all of where we're at. They can put in manhole 101 to manhole 102 and document what their findings are. Inside of that, there's also a laser measuring thing.
Yes.
So you don't need that one to walk down there and measure it. It does it automatically. So from manhole number 1 to manhole number 4, he was able to drive 44 feet before he noticed
Well,
intrusion.
your cable does that.
The cable does that, but so does that laser
The
measuring
laser,
thing.
the laser thing tells you the diameter of the pipe.
Okay.
It does not do how far it went.
Okay.
That comes off of how much cord came out of the spool.
Yep. So they have a way to zero it out. But yes, everything that we need this camera system to be is here.
Do you think this is the right purchase?
I do, yes.
You concur?
I do concur. From what based off of the research that MPE has given me, yes, it is a very good recommendation from their source.
And warranty and everything like that?
I can't remember the warranty, I'll have to double check it. This guy's done, they've had these things out there for years, and he said, in the past 3 years, they've never had a return. The only issue is people that don't use it right, they try to use it for a Vatican ram to break through stuff, they'll end up breaking the glass in the front, which means you have to replace the camera.
Okay.
And that's user error.
What is that total?
The total for this is $22,995.
So we need a,
Well,
Yeah.
did you think we should authorize the amount for the locator while we're at it?
that'll be separate.
That'll be
That
separate,
might put you over
Separate,
the,
yeah, if you don't do that by a separate vote,
If
that's.
you do it separate, then you're gonna switch over. But we're gonna need it. You don't
that's
need, you don't
illegal.
need the locator
You
right
know that's
now.
unlawful.
You don't need the locator right now.
It is if you're breaking down, I know what you're talking about, Kevin,
That's right.
but sometimes you're in a gray area.
No, I got you,
If you had to buy a generator,
But it's not absolutely crucial to
We
this
don't need
job.
it to do this, right.
So 22,995.
$22,995, and he just called me back and said, when are you gonna decide whether you're gonna do this or not? I said, I don't know why. He said, because in 2 weeks, prices are going up. They're going up significantly.
So original retail price for this was $28,995. That was discounted.
And we're also getting the free stuff, look on the front.
Yes, yep.
We're getting the SON locator, which sends out that beacon, so we have a locator that knows where to get it.
And it comes with the free software that goes forever.
Yes.
You only buy it
I
one
never
time,
knew
it's
this
not a
either, but there's,
subscription.
these other people, you have to buy software every year, the rights to run it every year. This is free.
Okay. If there are no objections.
I will say, there are no mentions of a warranty in the paperwork that I have.
I can double check it with that.
And I don't know if there's like a 90-day return or anything like that, but
Typically, there's an applied purchase.
I just have to get it out there.
So you want to go ahead and make the motion for your purchase?
I'll make the motion, we go ahead and purchase.
Okay, you want to read it back?
we need a second.
It'll come to a roll call on it.
Still need a second.
I'll second it.
Yeah.
All right, something that expensive is gonna need a roll
Let's
call,
hear the
right?
motion back.
There's a motion on the table to can I see the paper sign, the exact
Yeah.
amount, please? Thank you. It's okay.
Purchase a
To purchase the camera for the sewer line in the amount of $22,995.
From MPE, yes.
Yeah, from MPE Equipment and Supplies.
Okay, we have a first and a second, well, do a roll call, right?
Oh, yeah, sure. Bill Heen
Yes.
and Kevin Farkas.
Yes.
Jake Tate, sorry, I went out of order.
Yes.
Justin Winter.
Yes.
Bob Tate.
Yes. Don't forget about John.
John,
Don't
you're
bring
behind
me
me.
over here. Sorry, it's
John.
hide back here.
You're behind me. John,
Yes,
thank you.
All right.
Motion
Bye,
stands,
Cameron.
order it.
don't forget I'm here, Nancy.
I know.
Do we want to wait the vote? Here now, or?
What's the locator situation?
We're definitely gonna get the locator. Can we do that this meeting? Or should we do that the next meeting?
Yeah, do it next. Just wait.
I'd wait another month.
Put that on the
Because
agenda
he
for
said
next
this-
meeting.
we're gonna get it in there, and we're gonna have to try
You can do that.
training with it and playing with it before we actually do some locating.
And let me remind council, if we do unlawful trickery with this kind of stuff, we are liable. We can be surcharged for this amount. I don't want to have to pay.
I didn't do any trickery. What
I'm just
trickery are we
saying,
speaking
if
of?
we- if
Camera
we-
operates
If we
without.
divide this, well, I'm saying, if we divide this purposely, not to go over the bid threshold, that's unlawful, right? So, I'm just saying.
That's why we're not doing
That's why
it.
we're not doing it.
There's no, John just brought up, there's no tax on this, is it?
We
Shouldn't
don't
be.
pay, we don't.
I'm just making sure.
wanna make sure.
We just wanna make sure, that's all.
Yeah, I'll verify that too.
But we are tax exempt.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we just wanna make sure, that was all, because it wasn't on there, so I didn't want the amount to be
And-
wrong. And it put us over the 24,000 and then we're in a hole.
So if this all goes through, I just give him you'll write out a check or whatever.
Yeah, once I get an invoice, yeah.
Okay.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
What else did I have? I think we already talked about the streets, right?
That was it.
That's it.
Okay, I also, just for informational purposes, I sent Kevin, I wrote up what I think this job does, because I'm leaving. You know, all the duties, blah, 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 and some of the stuff that's in there. And then also, there's a whole bunch of reporting that needs to be done that we have never done. Some of we've never done, some we did and quit. So there's a lot of those that, you know, because of issues, that's gonna have to be brought back up.
So you sent that to me, thank you, and you have a copy.
I do not.
Oh, you didn't send it?
I did not send it to him. I didn't know who's actually gonna do my job next year.
Oh, okay.
I sent it to Bob, I believe.
Yeah, I got it.
What's good we have that? I guess we can start to figure out where to go, and then calendar those.
I'm around
reports
here,
in.
so I'm not, you're not going anywhere.
Oh, and just so you guys know, we gotta replace the electric line, the main, from this building to that building.
Again.
Again, well,
Well,
it's been
repaired too
cut
many
too many times, so it's got, you were not getting enough power over there. So that's gonna cost how much?
To repair what's there, it'd be under $500.
Okay, just so everybody knows that.
We need money for that, is it?
Like
I don't
trucks
think
or
we
something?
can get much for that, do we? Something has to be done.
I mean, I wouldn't.
Okay, Justin, finance?
I do not have anything.
Well, that's good. Ordinance, I don't. Well, is this where we bring up about?
Release credit.
Is this where we should talk about the landlord agreement?
Oh, we can talk about it now?
Okay.
Yeah, you know, I did send Jenna yet another copy of the landlord tenant, but then I made yet another change after I sent
I
it to
hope you added a
Jenna.
couple more pages to it.
No, all it was, what I changed per request, I think came in an email from Kevin. License name change. The term occupancy license, I changed to rental occupancy license. I agreed with him that it might cause some confusion with the term occupancy permit that's already used in the zoning ordinance. So that's the only change. I mean, you know, you do that with the software. My secretary did that, so that's the only change that's been made. Otherwise, the terms are the same. One other thing that's been raised too, we advertised this, how many months ago, I'm not sure, okay.
98 days ago.
Pardon me?
98 days ago.
You count, okay. We've had it on, we kept on putting it, you know, on the agenda, but we kept on making changes for other reasons. The question was raised about, do we need to re-advertise? I don't think we do, but we have made changes. But just so you know, I looked it up, I knew there was something in the borough code. If you make, and the word is substantial amendments are made in a proposed ordinance before you actually enact it, then I'd have to do a summary reflecting those changes and advertise it within 10 days, so we can vote on this tonight. My own opinion, there have not been substantial changes. The gist of it is still there, so I don't think we need to worry about that, so.
Take your word for it.
I would respectfully disagree with you on that, but I won't stand in the way. I just want to be on record that I think this should be re-advertised. I think the merits of the ordinance are there, but I think going by the borough code, I think we're well beyond the 60-day threshold. But I won't stand in the way.
Well, are you talking about actually enacting it now? Because, well, we could do that. If you're more comfortable doing that.
I'll defer to your legal advice. I just want to be on record.
You're not saying because we made changes, you're saying because of the passage of time since the initial advertisement, is that what you're saying?
Right, and we did not take any action on this at all. We talked about it, that's not an action.
But I was saying, my understanding was, we kept on tabling it.
No, we didn't table it formally.
Well,
It was just brought up and we just said,
if we didn't table it formally, if that's not really on the agenda, then I would agree with them. Maybe better to be safe than be sorry. We should re-advertise.
When you advertise it, you just have to put,
a summary.
Just
But here's what I gotta do.
2 sentences.
No, a little bit more than
Keep the cost
that.
down.
Okay, we gotta make sure we don't have any other changes.
Yes.
Okay, because I can do it, I got one summary done already, and I'll just fine tune it to reflect any changes we've made, and then I'll put it in, and we'll have to vote on this in December. Okay, and,
okay?
That'll work. I want to thank you for all the work that you did.
Oh.
Because I did another AI summary. This guy got me hooked on the AI stuff. But anyways, I wanted to sort of get a sense of what our September 4th version that we worked out in a work session to your version. And I saw some significant improvements that you made to this. You strengthened some things.
And I'll be honest with you, some things, I couldn't agree with everything that was suggested.
Sure.
You know, like in particular, I couldn't just say that our code enforcement officer is Bob, and that he could make up his own, in his own discretion, what could be some of the requirements for maintenance of that. That could get defeated real easily in a court because it's a little too vague, okay? You have to have like a standard. It can be flexible, but you gotta have a standard there, so. But okay, yeah, we're fine.
Soon we're gonna have for Bob to go in and do these, especially, he's gonna have some type of a standard sheet that he takes to every facility.
We do, we have one, and then Tina's got
Yeah.
But we've talked about up to this point, Tina and I have talked about this, Bob and I have talked about this, that, you know, we do have ordinances already that deal with the physical requirements, the maintenance requirements, and that's right there. What I just didn't want to do is say, well, there's, in his discretion, he can deviate from that or put additional things in there.
Yeah.
That's the kiss of death if you're trying to go in front of a hearing on that. So, all right, I'll advertise it then for.
And then you got a fee schedule.
So you're gonna advertise it,
Did you
Joe?
get this?
Thanks.
So
Well,
after,
That'll have to get talked about after it gets approved.
Right.
after that ordinance, do we have to make a motion to approve the checklist or whatnot?
No.
Or do we have to look at that? Do we have to, does council
Well, you have to prove
agree?
that, like Tina just said, you have to prove the fee schedule, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But council doesn't have to agree on what your checklist is or anything?
No, because it's there.
I think it should be presented to council.
Yeah, we will.
For matter
Review
of
it,
yeah.
yeah. In terms of passage of this ordinance.
As long as you're not gonna turn it into a 20-page things that I gotta look at.
Look at me.
I'm looking at two people.
Well, I mean, in all seriousness,
Yeah.
because this deals with legal issues, it deals with money, you know, this probably more than other ordinances, there's a potential for someone taking us to court.
Right, because this is an imposition
Yeah.
on that. I found out, this was based on several other ordinances, just, I don't want to belabor this. The original draft had something in there that you had to, if you were a resident of West Mayfield, you had to appoint a manager, name a manager for your property, somebody that the borough could contact. I found out from Patterson Township Solicitor, that got stricken down, okay? So I took
Was
that
that
part out.
Patterson or was that East Rochester?
What?
About having to appoint, if you don't live here, you have to appoint a manager or something?
East Rochester might have it, Patterson did too.
Rochester had
You
it.
struck that line on a manager not having to be in Beaver County.
It just had to be somebody
that you-
who's local
You
within
struck
50
that.
miles.
Yeah.
That's what their
All right.
work is.
Okay, so put it on that next
On the
meeting.
agenda.
Put that on the agenda for next.
I got
it. Okay, thank you.
You're number one, Jenna.
I think that was it for ordinance, Parks and Rec,
This month.
nothing new under Parks, right?
Parks are closed.
Parks are closed.
Parks are closed. Kevin?
Okay, I got a couple of things here. So this, so the ordinance thing, I wanted to try to sort of make this a policy, so we are always clear on the ordinances. So I had sent out Monday the text for these proposed ordinances. So the first one I'm going to put on the table here is a simple resolution, it's a policy resolution that says, and I'll just read the four now therefores. So by simple motion, council shall direct the solicitor to draft a proposed ordinance, or council may submit to the solicitor its own draft proposed ordinance for mandatory legal review. Council shall make known to the solicitor a timeline for completing the ordinance process. Number two, after legal review, the solicitor shall present a draft proposed ordinance to council for review, deliberations, possible amendments, fix it up in other words, if necessary. Three, if and when council, on the advice of the solicitor, is satisfied with the proposed ordinance, council shall, by simple motion, authorize its advertisement via legal public notice as required by the Borough Code. And four, after council has duly advertised its proposed ordinance, it may take final action on the proposed ordinance as permitted by the Borough Code. This will just keep this process from start to finish where we it's deliberate, we vet what's going on, so we don't have something already advertised. Joe, this actually happened with this.
Yeah, I
rental
see what
thing,
you
right?
mean.
So, if we can all agree on this as a policy, I think, this would be true for almost all of our stuff. And we just really need to be on top of things before we get too far get ahead of our skis, right, in other words. So this is a resolution that I'm laying on the table.
What do you want to do with it?
I want you to vote in favor of it.
Okay. I'll vote first. Aye. Yay.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, the second
That's
is,
this then?
the second resolution is just performance. It's we have to approve the independent auditor in the year of the audit. So the resolution I have basically approves.
The second one.
It appoints Butler, Agnew and Associates as independent auditor to make an independent examination of the accounting records of the borough for the year 2025.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, the third resolution here, now we're getting into the budget stuff. Those of you who came in at 6 o'clock, some of us were here at 3, so we're going on our.
Do we need a
what,
Do we need a motion for this? I mean, instead of just aye. Yeah.
No, approve the resolution.
You just need to, the resolution needs to vote to adopt it or not adopt it.
Alright.
The motion on the table is to
Alright.
approve the resolution.
All in favor? Opposed?
I thought we did that.
We
That
did.
was the first one.
No, we did the second one.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed it.
You're good.
Yeah. Okay, just stop.
I just heard a couple eyes.
All ayes, that was it.
So one of the things and we talked about in the budget, and the group here agreed that they thought was a good idea, that when, putting the monies that we have into appropriate funds, like putting monies into our highway fund, right? So we can do planned projects, putting money into the sewer fund, whatever. And so we have, Justin and I, we are presenting basically these transfers. It's in the proposed budget, transferring monies to these funds. It doesn't make them go away or anything. It just says we designate these monies to go in these specific funds for specific purposes.
And if we need them somewhere else, we'd still be able to use
Yeah,
them.
it's all liquid, basically.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, so that's what this resolution does. And it also designates minimum balances. Like, for example, the sewer maintenance fund. It's just a policy thing. Our goal should be to keep 50,000 into that fund, right? Our capital projects fund, 50,000. The Pliget Capital Purchase Fund, 25,000. The Pliget Investment Fund, right now, a minimum of 75,000. That, by the way, is 2 months' worth of our operating revenue, and you heard that recommendation from the group here. Emergency Management Fund, minimum of 3,000. No, this doesn't mean we have to keep that. Well, we try to keep more than that, but a minimum. So if you guys, Emergency Management, go on a spending spree, let's keep 3,000 in there, okay? General Operating Fund, 75,000. Highway 8 Fund, 50,000. So that's what's in here. It's a policy resolution that, we all agree that we're going to handle these monies as such.
And to be transparent, there's SOGs that are involved in this to maintain that. So like if there's budget, which ones are on there on the first page of this? Is this the same one that we're looking at, or do you have a different one? This is what.
Yeah, this is the same.
Yeah. So just to be transparent about the accordance of those policies.
Yeah, what Justin is saying, we have a whereas. This resolution serves as the official council approval required by the Budget and Variance Management SOG, which is being developed, for all transfers exceeding 5% of a line item, or for transfers between borough funds not previously included in the adopted budget.
Yeah. So there's policies to kind of
Making a
coincide with
I'm
that.
making the motion.
I'll second them.
All in favor? Opposed? And signing.
Now, the motion to approve the 2026 proposed budget. Now, Monday I sent you all a nice clean copy of what we had worked up over 2 sessions, the original budget workshop and then the work session. Now, this is approving the proposed budget. It's not the final budget. So what we have to do is approve this is by law. This then gets put to the public for at least 10 days. And then from there, we can work on to finalize our final budget, all the way right to December 29th. So, if we do not do this tonight, just think of the timeline here, right? The next public meeting potentially would be the December work session. If we have quorum, right, we could pass the proposed budget. That'd be 10 days, and then that puts us really close to, that puts us back beyond, right? Yeah, so, to me, it's like, do it now, or we're gonna jam up the whole system.
Yeah.
So, you have the stuff there. None of this is set in stone at this point, but this is a proposed budget that we can offer, that we can agree on as a proposed budget and offer to the public for their review. So I'm asking that we go ahead and approve the proposed budget tonight.
Are you making a motion?
Well,
John
okay.
just did.
Okay, you wanna go around with any questions?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions, though, because I don't understand all of this stuff. I'm not that good at this kind of stuff, and I'm angry. I have other issues. But when I went through, I saw where we only offered $72,000 for wages for employees. They make more than that.
We took it out of liquid fuels.
But I don't see any liquid fuels numbers in there anywhere.
No, we don't put the liquid fuels monies into this general fund budget.
Okay, so you're taking that out, so that takes about $14,500 out of liquid fuels. So we get, what, $50,000 a year?
There is a line or a section of the liquid fuel on how that's being broken out.
The liquid fuel, if you go to the very bottom of the sheet there. So what I did was I provided a budget.
Yeah, that's why I said I wasn't understanding.
And then an overview of the funds, and then an overview of the treasury, I should say, where the funds are in there.
I just want to be transparent on the deficit of the expenditures compared to the income, and hoping to use the surplus to make that positive, right? So I think, I don't know what the napkin math is, but I'd say 24,000, I think is what the budget expenditures are compared to what the revenue is currently.
It is,
Can you put it up there?
I believe it's up to 31.
It's up
No,
to-
I'm sorry. 27.
27.
27,165.
27,165, which with the cell tower money and the other surpluses, I feel like at a 4%, 3.5%.
Well, I know because of all the money we're gonna get in, we can cover everything.
That should take, the interest on that should take care of that deficit. So how they were kind of saying is like.
Interest made is the earned income.
Yeah.
We'll preserve the principal of this investment money and use the interest that we gain to cover this.
Because right now, the aqua money is put in as revenue, so it looks like we had a really, really good year, which we did. But we're still spending more than we're taking in.
Okay, the other question I had was, what is part-time secretary, $600?
Okay, what we had talked about with these stamp people, with Jenna's session, was the need to follow through on the independent auditor's advice to put financial controls into place where we have a couple sets of eyes, another set of eyes on the books. In other words, looking at the bank statements, the inflows and outflows, so that Jenna is not the only one that puts her into liability.
So who is the assistant treasurer?
Well, we don't know who it is, but.
Okay,
I mean,
so that's to be determined.
So we thought,
That's what
we
I
agreed
need to
on
know.
a
That's
bit of a salary. You good on that?
Yes, I am.
Any other questions?
The other issue I have.
And anything that does come up.
Are we giving employees a raise this year? It doesn't say one way or another.
We factored it in.
factored it in.
Yeah, to the.
Yeah, it was already in the
3%.
budget.
No, sorry, so it was already there?
Yes.
Okay. Because I was curious, I see also the council gets a raise,
Well, I'm gonna
That's
talk about that
possible,
next.
it's proposed.
I'll talk about that next. Yeah.
okay? Because my issue with that was, we took $600 off of emergency management for the year, then you gave yourself a raise.
I'll argue the point.
Your raise is based off of performance, don't get your hopes up.
Anything else, Bill?
That's it.
Okay.
Okay, so
Those are my issue
so
questions.
the motion on the table is to approve the proposed budgets.
Motion, anybody?
John made the motion, I'll second it.
accept.
All in favor?
Aye.
I repeat
Thanks,
what I
John.
did earlier.
Yeah, we're good.
I really, look over this stuff, if you have issues, I mean, let's discuss, right?
Yes.
That's the point of this.
Well, that's what I wanted to know, because I'm not saying it's wrong, I just
We
didn't
didn't
understand.
understand.
Points are valid, well taken, yeah, that's what we should be doing, yeah. Okay, so the last thing is, the last thing here is actually it's a resolution, and this would have to be done by resolution, I'm sorry. This would have to be done by ordinance eventually, to give council a raise. We have not, council has not had a raise, the mayor's not had a raise in 30 years. And so what I'm proposing is a $50 a month raise, which takes from $8,400 a year to $1,440.
Total.
50% total. I know, and look, I'm not fully committed until we see these numbers at the end, right? So we have to live within our means, obviously. But, you know, I think it sends a very poor message that we haven't raised this compensation in 30 years. And that, by the way, we would be making, we're making the equivalent of, and we heard that spiel about inflation, right? We're making the equivalent of $300 or so, right? You know, instead of, $1,200 a year. So I think it's due. I think, you know, the old saying, which is about to whom much is expected, or given much is expected. So I fully expect council to step up and to engage our work, our duties, our obligations. So this is why I'm advocating for this raise. We believe it will be covered through the revenue generation in the future.
That's what I'd have to see first,
Yeah,
right?
okay.
There's a chance it'll be covered.
Okay, but this would have to be done by ordinance. Now, if we want to move ahead with this, we could do that ordinance. Now, think about it. If this ordinance isn't passed, giving council a raise till next year, okay, fine. I'm not opposed to that. That simply means that nobody can get a raise until the next election cycle, right? If we pass it now, if we get this passed by the end of December, it would be a squeaker. Those coming on to council, the 6 new people coming on to council would benefit from this raise. You wouldn't, unfortunately.
I'm not here for the money. Yeah.
I know you're not. But I'm just, that's how this works.
I never was either, but I asked for a raise a couple times. I killed somebody.
Well, we want to give it to you, right?
They ain't gonna give it to me.
And also, I mean, if we don't want to take a raise ourselves personally, we have to think about someone else sitting at this table who might use that money, might find value in that money. Why are we going to preclude them from having the benefit of that?
Where did you that 2 years ago? When you sit over and said no.
So, what is on the table here?
I will be.
I'm just concerned that it also looks like now that we got money, we're gonna benefit from it.
Him and I have butted heads on this topic, and
I think I also said that.
Until, for me personally, until the expenditures are lower than what we're spending, I'm not comfortable.
Yeah,
me
that's what they
personally.
Okay, well, all right, let me table this. Let me table this into the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay, and we can take this up then. We'll have a clear understanding of the numbers, right?
Yeah,
in the budget?
if we got a surplus and knew what that number was at a certain percentage, and we knew that our expenditures were being covered fully, 100%, I'd be more open to it than
But
to add more
from what they just
expenditures.
told us, they're not. They're projected to be what?
Well,
3%,
they're
4%
not, they
below?
also didn't factor in
The
the
new
police, or
income.
the fire contract or the new income.
With the new income, they had the fire contract in there.
I don't think they had the.
The 25, 26.
Oh, okay.
Well, they were looking at inflows versus outflows.
Yeah.
The excess over there. And yeah, we have $27,000 deficit, right? And I know it's a hard call to say, well, let's give ourselves a raise, right?
My point.
They
So-
had the 2024
Okay,
numbers.
let's table
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, they didn't have the new contract.
Let's table this and then, and we'll take this up at the next meeting. Let's take it up at the work session.
I'm good with that.
If there's quorum, we can act upon it. If there's not, we'll move it to the regular meeting.
That's
I
December
won't
3rd.
be here for the swearing in.
Okay.
That's the 5th. I won't be back till.
January
Yeah,
5th.
we'll worry about that next month.
Okay,
I'm trying
Is
to.
that it, Kevin?
that's it for me.
All right, I've got nothing. Joe,
Nothing, sir.
Mayor?
No.
Oh, wait, Bob, you want to do the motion to accept Ryan's resignation?
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
I'll need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Including
I'll second.
contract.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Thank you,
That
John.
number's good.
Opposed? Okay.
Yeah.
So now we need the council. Now, how does that work? Since he's now resigning, will that automatically go back to the election board?
No, because
We would have to.
we've got enough people to take, once the counts in, won't we have enough?
Wasn't his
His
spot
his
on the
spot was
ballot?
on that
Yeah,
already.
it's all
It's on the
on.
ballot.
Yeah,
It's
we're
everybody
good.
but Bob.
Yeah, but he was filling the vacancy, that was actually.
I didn't.
at this time.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Okay,
okay.
then we're good.
That's what I'm saying, so the ballot will fill his vacancy.
Irrelevant.
But
Even though we're
we,
supposed to do it within
but
30
we could
days.
still appoint someone before the new year.
You're supposed to do it in 30 days, right?
Yeah.
Right, well, you should, well, you have to
You gotta do
accept
it within
it.
30 days if you accept the resignation, you just did that now.
Okay.
So technically, you're supposed
We
to do
got
it
him on.
within 30
So
days. So you don't.
someone that got
15
voted
days.
in could technically start earlier if they wanted to.
Technically.
If we find out who got it.
Yeah.
We
How many
can-
days
we
you
can-
have to
yeah.
accept it?
Yes.
And that way we can.
Yeah.
And we did, so let's move
So
on.
next meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't think 6
So nobody else has anything here. Tina, you're good, you don't have nothing else, right?
One thing I was just gonna tell you.
Yeah, 6 and 7.
Street. Street means alley, avenues, boulevards, lanes, roads, streets, state highways, and other public ways in the borough. There you go.
Brian, do you have anything?
Doing great.
Chief? Nothing. Okay, we gotta pay the bills?
Pam.
Okay, I have a bill.
I don't know what the bills
This is,
are.
but it's under 100. It's my dues for
Hey,
2026.
Shadow, I don't know what the bills are.
Did you do this one?
Yeah, for this exact one.
Do we skip
I already did
that?
that.
Okay,
Yep.
then I'm gonna just make a copy.
Okay, I can send you
Okay.
mine too.
Well, then just send me
I'm good
yours.
with that.
Because you
At
know
least
what?
Let it be on record.
Make sure I
Wait.
printed everything. So I can, I'll take that one home. But I put you as the borough contact.
Yep, I did too.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Jenna, we are, oh, go ahead.
We were going to approve the bills pending.
Paying the bills.
Yeah,
Pending the financial report, got it.
financial,
Yes, sorry about that.
You don't have to apologize.
Need a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Now I guess we need a roll call. 'Cause we're-
Paying bills?
Oh, we need a roll call, is yours?
For bills?
No. No.
Huh? Did you just say that? 'Cause we're-
Well, it makes sense to me if it's dealing with money.
December 3rd is the work
But
session.
we don't have to.
No, you pay bills
6
every month,
o'clock.
that's
December 10th
administrative.
is
All in
the
favor?
meeting.
Aye.
Yeah.
Opposed?
Okay, December 13th
Okay.
is we're having our Christmas party.
Purchases made by committees.
Okay. Do any agree?
Aye.
Do they?
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And purchases from committees.
Any other business?
We have to do executive session.
Wait.
We have to.
That's right. Executive session.
Just recess.
Oh, hold up.
Just recess into the executive session.
Yes.
Yeah, you're not adjourning. That's all these folks.
Kathy, you may have the table.
Thank
Where's the
you.
Christmas party at here?
You appointed the accountant to audit the year 2025, correct? Does that include the borough and me,
No,
or is it just the borough?
no.
Because I'm not getting audited for 2024 because you don't have a contract with anybody.
No, okay.
We are appointing the auditor to do the auditor thing. If
To
that-
do what?
To do whatever the auditor does, required by law. If the auditor is required to audit just the borough and not you, okay, both, I don't know, honestly, I don't know the answer to that, but we are obligated to appoint the auditor to audit the municipal finances.
Okay. Somebody needs to check with him to see if it's legal to just do that. And just audit the borough and not audit me too. When I talked to Chad the other day, he said, and I talked to someone prior to that, the school's not auditing me for 2024 either. And they said because I'm under the umbrella of the school, they'll look at my stuff, but they're not gonna really do an in-depth audit. If they have any questions, they'll call me. I've gotten no request for 2024 from Chad. He said, you don't have a contract to audit me for 2024. Which is why nobody's asked me for any paperwork. So now the ball's in your court. Yeah.
Well, I would say if we are appointing the auditor as per the borough code, hiring the auditor, paying the auditor to do the auditor's work.
To do that for 2025.
Yes.
I'm talking about 2024.
I know some people down there. Well, we're beyond that, Kathy. I don't know the answer, but
Okay.
we're beyond that year.
So you'll have no audit from me for 2024. Okay, just so everybody's aware of that.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I can take that cruise and
I
take
know that's
that
why you
trip
were-
to wherever.
We're going with you.
Want me to hold your hand?
I wish you had told me before now that you weren't gonna audit me and
Make a
then.
motion to go into executive session. Anybody want to second it?
Bill did. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're in executive session.
You can do it.
Are we back in regular session?
Back in regular session.
Come straight here. I'm like,
Anybody out there?
They want their cars like.
I'm okay with
No,
it.
the cars are running.
Yeah, it's recorded, minutes will be done.
Okay, so-
Mayor went out to see if anyone was still here. No one is here, so.
I think all the cars are just running.
That's fine, let's just get it over with.
So I make the motion to bring Gerald back. He's going to be on a 90-day probation, no longer allowed to use social media, and will have to go through Kevin to post anything
Borough related.
borough related.
Yeah, he can use social media for his own
For
personal.
personal,
things,
not
but not borough
for
related.
business, for
Not West Mayfield related.
Any issues, Brian will report to me. Brian is the boss. Gerald is to work his regular full-time job, 40 hours a week. Wage stays the same at $17.50.
What are his hours?
I'll second it.
What are
40
the
hours.
No, I mean,
Seven
each day.
seven.
do we need, we don't need a roll call, right? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
I don't even know Gerald.
I will call Gerald tonight and he can come back as early as tomorrow if he
Make the
pleases.
stipulations extremely clear.
I will. I already did.
Okay, make a
No,
motion
again.
on these gift cards so I can get it taken care of.
I'll
for
make a
next meeting.
motion on gift cards
In the amount of $50.
in the amount of $50
To each council
to each
person
council member for hams.
and
And Kathy.
$100 to
$100 for each
And
employee.
Kathy.
$100 for each.
Mayor, Kathy?
Kathy, I think.
What's the mayor get?
$100, no, 50.
No, I'm
How
just.
much money do you want,
who
Mayor?
all- Just tell me how many gift cards.
Well, the only one you're not doing that is Eli.
Well, Eli should get a ham too, then,
Yeah.
probably, huh?
Yeah. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Does Joe get a
And
ham?
Kathy.
I think I counted Kathy.
Yes.
Joe.
Joe and Ham.
11.
So hold on, let me do it again.
11 hams.
Kathy, Joe, that's 2,
And again,
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, not me. Not me.
8 over
Got
there.
it. 8. With 8 again?
8.
Yeah, 8 councilmen.
Count again. 2, 4.
We don't have
Okay,
8.
1, 2, 3,
Seven.
4, 5, 6, 7,
Count.
8,
Kathy makes 9.
Kathy makes 9.
9.
Kathy makes
So,
9,
are you
Eli
getting
makes
gift cards or
10.
do you want me to
Okay.
get you?
Okay.
You can grab gift cards.
10 at 50.
10 at 50.
Who am I ready, who am I paying?
10? Could be
Me,
great, we don't have this guy.
Brian, Gerald?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That guy don't get one.
Send it to you, then you only
So I
have
don't have to worry
7,
about this.
including the mayor. Kathy, Eli,
Oh yeah, should Eli in there?
Eli.
and
that's-
Joe. Joe.
So 10.
Yeah.
10 $50 gift cards.
10, yes. 10.
10.
6, 7,
Yes,
8,
I got 10.
9, 10.
If it's wrong, we'll amend it.
10 gift cards, $500 worth.
And the
What'd you say
bonus
he had
checks, $100 to all the employees.
So we get the 3.
I don't do
Three.
threes.
Having the $22 ones.
Thank you, Jenna.
Actually, they get the whole one and they cut it.
Do you have checks for me to deposit or anything? We good?
We're good.
Good.
You gavel that.
I'm ready to adjourn.
Let's go.
All right, make a motion to adjourn.
I make the motion.
All in favor? We're adjourned.